crazy that that's how they act. It's for some reason. It's just for me. It's like I don't know. You just posted something.
Yeah, it'd be
I,
like, cause and you can only convey a whole bunch of stuff with 140 characters. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
for
Like
real.
sometimes
Yeah,
you
that's
be
real
needing
talk. Yeah.
context. People be like, what you mean? Like, all right, well, look at the show, and you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like I said, you can go any subject you want. It don't matter to me. I roll with the
Yeah.
punch. It's your show.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Okay.
it don't matter.
Man, yeah, I ain't got nothing like I ain't got nothing like photos with you and a midget or nothing like that. I'm just it's just ain't no blindside Geraldo stuff, man. It's just real stuff, man.
Man,
But I
it's
appreciate you. Come on. But
yeah,
everybody,
I come on anytime. It don't matter as long as it's missing schedule. It's cool.
I sent you the number, man, so it's
Yeah,
all good. Everybody, man, listen up. This is real time. Today is August the 3rd, man, and I feel like this is a good show, man, because I got one of the OGs, one of the guys that let me know that, what I'm saying, I can do this. Like one of the original content creators in Philadelphia. Um,
yeah.
Video vet, radio vet, gamer vet, fighter, like he's the Renaissance man, main event status. What's going on, man?
Nah, nothing good. I mean, it's all good. It's funny that you bring that up because for me, it's like when you say that, I'm thinking, damn, I really did do a lot of things before
Bruh.
everyone else did.
Yes,
But
bruh. See?
they just get quiet about it. I mean, some people give my credit, but it still feels like it's one of those things where you feel like you work hard and they still
Mm-hmm.
not giving you credit overall. And then when they don't, you got to get nasty with them because it's like they don't
Yeah.
understand. And then when you get nasty, when they be like, "Yo, what's up with him? What's wrong with him?" Like, you know
Well,
what
you
I mean?
disrespecting my resume, dog. You acting
Yeah,
like I'm just like
yeah,
any fat bamboon can do a video. We gonna get to that soon.
yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? When you legit put out your own shit and then you got radio stations calling you like, yo, I
yeah.
like he's
Mhm.
next. You know what I'm
That was
saying? You doing something right.
Yeah, it
So
was, it was way before Eagles fans got together and made their own stuff. It was way before all that. You know what I mean? So it was like I was the first to do it, and then you know what I mean. I didn't like how things were going there. What's going on,
mhm.
Eagle? Spec Pooh? What's going, Pooh?
That's my dude too,
Yeah,
man.
it's one of those things where uh, you get to see the inside of business, and I didn't like the inside of business and how they were. And I was like, yo, y'all don't. They didn't respect black people. They didn't respect where it came from. They didn't respect women. They didn't respect nothing. It was just a bunch of pretty much suburban dudes just pretty much sitting around circle jerking. And I was like, nah, that gotta
Fucking
stop.
sausage fest. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Telling
yeah,
each other they great. Yeah.
yeah. That's what it was. And it's like for me, I was like, yo, I'm not. I don't know how that feel because for me, on my life, I've been told, you ain't gonna ever be nothing, or someone else gonna be better than you, and whatever. So for me, I always carried a chip on my shoulder, so I know how to keep motivating myself. But with them, it was like, oh, they was high fiving each other and everything. They don't like to talk about the other room that's in 975, where they got a small room, a conference room, but they have a mini basketball court there. It's like one of those games where you just keep
Mhm.
throwing basketballs, and they couldn't hit anything. They was right up close. They couldn't even hit anything from like the court. I'm like, you serious? Like you just sit there all day and just throw it and throw it and throw. I'm like, they didn't even understand the science of just constantly chucking it up and getting more points. We used to do that back in the arcade. It's like y'all don't even feel it. They want to stop, study, and then shoot it. I'm like, you understand the clock is running. You got to throw it up as fast as possible. So they was getting
And that's
slaughtered on.
what it and that's what I feel like because when I first ran across you and your brand, I remember the whole um Dwayne for Swedesboro thing happened. And I just Googled, I swear I Googled Mikey Miz douche
Yeah,
and your video came up under YouTube. So I clicked on it and yo, you just had like three videos when you just spit straight, how you felt about that whole situation. And since then, man, I hit that subscribe button, man, and you pretty much speak for, the majority of the fan base when it comes to how sports talk radio is in this town and how they go unchecked. So
yeah,
talk about that whole situation in general because you've been on both sides. So you
yeah.
kind of can talk about the inside aspect of it. What's your feelings on sports talk radio today
I,
and how you feel about it?
I think sports talk radio is trash. I think that a lot of people pull stunts or say things outlandish just to get you to listen, and that's not really knowledgeable. You know what I mean? To just say it, just hey, look at me. Hey, Elliot Short Parks, yeah, you talking to you. But there's a lot of politics involved on who they bring in and who they won't bring in. Um, when I started doing those videos, like I said, I found out from Matt that Sean really the one I don't like, Sean Brace. He's the one who
Nobody
originally
does.
discovered me,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted me to be on there. I remember when I argued with him a couple years ago on Twitter. He was talking about all online tough guys. I was like, ain't no about online tough. I was like, you can come see me whenever. And he was like, no, I got. He's like, I'll just put you on the list of people who want to fight me. I'm like, dog, I'm like 3 blocks away from you. Let's have it. Like, there's no excuse. And he didn't want to hear that. You know what I mean? He just kept talking and talking and talking. I'm like, all right, whatever. John Clark was another one who he came. I remember when I was a bouncer up on at Drinkers up at in Rittenhouse, and John Clark came in, and I was right there at the steps, like, yo, watch your step. John Clark's a pretty tall guy. He's got to be about 6'3", 6'4".
Johnny
But
Airport.
yeah, but he was talking to girls who were like, you can tell clearly underage. I don't even know how they got through the door, but it was like clearly underage. But he was drunk, and he was trying to holler at these 2 girls, and he bumped into me, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm like, all right, as long as you cool with saying sorry, you seem, even though you're drunk, you seem to still be of mine. So I'm not gonna throw you
Mm-hmm.
out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there was nothing that really happened. It came from nothing. The 2 girls didn't do nothing with him. He left with his other friend, and they was out. But yeah, I think the sports scene. I really had a problem in the beginning with the sports scene with talking about with just the truth. A lot of fans did not like the truth. You had all these guys who were used to kissing the players' asses. That's my boy, and this, that, and the third. Where I come from, it's like, yo, if you say someone your boy, you better know him. Don't just say that because you see him on TV. You know what I mean? That
Mm-hmm.
man. But when I started coming out and trying to tell people it was okay to have criticism, they didn't believe that. They thought it was just, nah,
Mm-hmm.
you just gotta go one way and kiss the ass of the players and the team in the direction they're going. I'm like, nah, you need to call them and hold them accountable for what they're doing. So I took a lot of heat from not much Phillies fans or Flyers fans. It was mostly Eagles fans. And yeah, I took a lot of heat. Like the people today who were like, oh, they big, they popular. They didn't like me very much. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So I was like, yo, all right, you don't like me very much. We can set it up then. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is just, like, for me, like I said, I've been doing this for like 10 years. For me, it's just a hobby. It's fun. I don't monetize anything. I don't do anything like that. You know what I mean? They trying to get their name up. And I always believe that you shouldn't be popular simply because you're a fan of said sports team. You're just a fan who just opened their mouth. That's how I felt. And then I started
Mm-hmm.
seeing all these people like on YouTube, and they started to get popular just by talking about their teams. And I'm like, it ain't that serious. Like, you're just a
It's not.
fan. Like, you're not out there
It,
with the team in the huddle and you know what I mean? Like, it really bothered
and
me.
speaking of that, man, because we gonna get into the
You know?
that gravy cholesterol fat motherfucker. I just kept seeing videos where like on ESPN where they would talk about Philadelphia Eagles fan angst, and they will hold him as the spokesperson of us. And that pissed me off. Number
Yeah,
one, I called him a
yeah,
fraud from day one. I
yeah.
was like, dude ain't a fan.
Now,
Like,
well,
it's a difference between real criticism and
mhm.
just saying shit just to say shit. Number one, if you deep
But,
throating a water bottle,
uh,
you can't claim my fan base.
let me explain. All right, because me and him had a talk, and I mean, look, don't get it twisted. We not cool with each other. All right,
Mm-hmm.
but when he first came on the scene, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to speak. He didn't know how to do all this stuff. You look at his early videos, he was lost. He looked at my blueprint and was like, okay, I can do this, but I can turn it up times 10. That's what he did. So I was like, all right, cool. As long as you give me credit for what you're doing, it's cool. I don't have a problem with it. The thing is, other places started picking him up. He was on like Tosh.0, like 2.0, whatever the fuck they call that. To me personally, I don't like those type of shows.
Mm-hmm.
There's the type of shows where you sign a release that says, hey, I can use your video and we can make fun of you the entire time, but you won't get paid while we make fun of you. You know what I mean? So it comes down to a matter of integrity. Um, Obviously, he didn't have a problem with integrity. He was on TV, he had all this stuff. So for me, the first thing I thought was sellout. That's what I thought, sellout. You know what I mean? And I kept looking at him like, who are you? Because I don't remember you doing the tough times when we were doing this stuff back in the day. And you start to see things. And then I remember when I called him out, and mind you, it took his fan base about 2 years to shut down that video because they kept striking it as is it was offensive and he's bullying him and this that. I'm thinking, who am I bullying? I literally put down the camera, spoke for 15 minutes from the heart, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't show all these pictures and stuff when I really get at people. People tend to forget. In 2010, 2011, 2012, YouTube was like the Wild West. You can
Oh
say what,
yeah,
yeah, you can say whatever you
yeah.
wanted on
There
YouTube.
was
You
no
can drop
rules. Yeah.
any. There was no rules. There was So it was like gunslinging. So and the thing is also back then, fans didn't get involved. They didn't get involved. It was just you versus the other guy, and the fans stayed on each side and just watched it play out. That's how it was. And I miss those days because it's like every time you say something about somebody now, here comes some type of fucking, groupie to jump in and defend a grown man. I'm like, that's a grown man. He can speak for himself.
Or some group that defends against that. Like you could talk about bananas, and it's some
Yeah.
Western group against banana hate, and you're like,
They coming after you.
like
They coming after you.
I just don't. Now I get it because sometimes like it's certain people on Twitter, like when I see somebody like just being like come on, like dog, like you really trying to get your rocks off because you think you can, then
Yeah.
I'll say something. But some of these people, like especially when it comes to the females, you get a whole line of simps. Like they just come out of nowhere. They be like, "You beautiful." I be like, nobody said anything about her look. So what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
she ain't gonna give you no pussy. You're not gonna get any pussy whatsoever. None.
It,
Not a crumb. Not a snatch. So what are we doing here?
yeah. What I don't understand is I want to give first off I want to give a shout out to the Eagles females because regardless of what people think, the Eagles females they hold it down. They do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They
Oh yeah.
do.
No doubt.
I
No doubt.
remember for a very long time we didn't really have that many Eagles females, and I'm happy for the scene to get bigger. What I don't like is sometimes I see is ego, and I don't like that. That's I don't like that. Like that's I'm
Mm-hmm.
not cool with that because we at the end of the day we still fans. No one's better
Mm-hmm.
than each other or whatever. We still fans. So when they start showing that ego shit, I'm like, all right, now someone's got to put you in check. That's
Mm-hmm.
simple. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we dealt with a lot. You got to think we got a lot of people who think they stars simply because they're fans of Philadelphia. And I remember when they did the Eagles fan awards, I was like, yo, I'm not sitting around for this shit. Because all they gonna do is circle jerk each other. And I said that shit. I was like, yeah, fuck this. And I literally made a video saying I'm not part of the Eagles fan base on Twitter because they a bunch of cornballs. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't fucking with them. And then later, years later, they was like, yeah. When he looked back at it, it was like, yeah, that was a bad time. We was feeling each
It
other too.
wasn't a second one, I can tell you that. It
It
wasn't a
wasn't
second annual. It
not at
wasn't.
all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I respect a lot of Eagles females, but I know again now some of them they starting to do Twitch, they start to play games. I'm like, yo, I've been down this road already. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
But
laying the foundation for everybody. You
but
know?
speaking of that, man, when you see stuff like that, when you see people, I mean, I've known you through Twitter and your videos, and like you're a cool dude. There's no ego involved. Like you're intense, but I do feel like you've done a lot of shit, and you see when you see other people coming down that same path, does it ever get to you like, man, like, I mean,
Yeah,
can I get like a shout out, like,
yeah. I do get that. I get a little frustrated at times. It depends on the
mhm,
person, but it's like, yo, I was here before you. I'm more likely to be here after you. You know what I mean? It's like that's how I feel. We don't get credited for longevity a lot. I think that's one thing
mhm,
on YouTube. We're just online. We don't get credit for longevity. And that's why it takes me so long to put out another video because I'm like, yo, I don't feel like doing this today. I don't feel like doing this today. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. I gave them a bunch of videos for over 10 years, and
10
I've never been
years.
wrong once. Never been wrong
Mhm.
once, but I don't get credit for that. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it's like, it would be nice to get a shout out every once in a while to recognize who I am. But if they cross that line, I just want to let it be very known to everyone, okay? Because I'm not done anytime soon. You cross that line with me, I'll take your head off. It's that simple.
And I
And
feel like
a lot of
in
people
this
aren't.
business, that's
Yeah, go
one of
ahead.
the things that you told me was that it's good to be like the haha, the kiki, like the joke guy, but
Yeah.
When you feel like somebody coming for your food, like you gotta let it be known, like,
Yeah. Let
nah,
it be known.
yeah,
Let it be known.
yes. So that's definitely one of the things that you taught me, and I think I'm wrestling with it because at first I was like, everybody can eat, it's not a big
Mhm.
deal. But
Yeah.
when you
We
see
both
people
family. I get it.
purposely,
Yeah.
yeah, you see people purposely like trying to sabotage your shit, you
Yeah.
like,
They
nah,
do.
see, no, nah,
Yeah.
we not gonna go there because I don't
Mhm.
fuck with your shit, don't fuck with mine. But I've seen that. But I want to get to a little bit like for people that don't know, I don't know why they wouldn't. It's only been a decade, but describe like who is main event like to his core, like when he gets up, like who is main event?
All right. Y'all want the real? I'll give you the real today. All right. When I get up, I hate myself. All right. That's number one. I'm never happy with what I'm doing. I've always, because of everything I've been through, I always try to push to be better every day. So when I wake up, I look at myself in the mirror and I say, did I do better yesterday than I'm going to do today? If I feel like I'm going to say no, then I'm automatically mad. I'm automatic because I can do better. So today got to be a better day. You know what I mean? I have to make sure that it pushes to be a better. If it's not going to be a better day for me, or if I just stay, even just borderline, on the line, that's not good for me. I have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And for me, I get that mentality from two different ways because I remember my mom, she told me, I believe, when I was around like 12 or so, that I would never be anything. So I was like, all right, cool. I know what's going on. I've been in enough fights also to know, like in school, to know that back in the day, not now, but back in the day, like you get blamed for anything for being black. You know what I mean? I remember I fought six kids once. They was all white, and they blamed me, and I got suspended. I'm like, yo, don't be mad because I whooped their ass. It's six of them versus me. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna get them any. They got nothing. You know what I mean? My aunt had to go up there and yell at them. On my dad's
Mhm,
side, he was known as a good football player, really good.
mhm,
He's historic in Frankfurt. He knows a lot of pros. I got to, as I was a little kid, I got to meet like Daryl Talley. I got to meet so many. Oh my God, there's so many to list off. There's so many pros. I got to meet Dr. J. You know what I mean? My dad knew all these pros. You know what I mean? So it was like I was constantly around a lot of athletes, and that's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? To as a kid, because yeah, I think I'm a kid. I'm thinking to myself at the time I'm a kid. I just want to sit around and draw comic books. You know what I mean? And my dad is like, nah, you're not going to draw this right now. What you're going to do is go down in the basement and hit weights, and he would force me to do that. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So I was like, but I realized, and I played football, but I mean, I went semi-pro, but I didn't want to do it no more because I was getting hit from the blind side a little bit too much for me to be the size I am compared to a linebacker. But
mhm.
I really had a real good thing with basketball. I was really good at basketball. I was really good at hockey. Um, Basketball, it was just amazing for me, But in the long term, basketball kind of hampered me a little bit because of injuries and stuff. Hockey, I got a lot of flack from the black side community. Yeah, because back then it was you're not black, you white because you play hockey. You know what I mean? And then
Mhm,
you're too, you're not black enough for the black community, but you're too black for the white community. And this we
right.
talking hockey back in the day where like you wore the old Jason mask. You know what I mean? So it
Mhm,
was like you didn't have the cages. So it was like first I started with street hockey and then I evolved. And I think if I'd have stuck with hockey, I probably would have made the pros. But I remember when I had a shot to make the pros with the Sixers, they gave me an open run. This was the year Iverson had came out the league,
mhm.
so he was a big influence for me. And I was like, yo, if he can do it, if Kobe I can't tell you how many battles. And when it got rest Kobe's soul, I can't tell you how many times my camp and his camp was just like, you ain't shit, you ain't this, we gonna beat you, we gonna, and Kobe would run us off the fucking court, and we was
He's
because it was like you little
man.
man can't play, blah blah blah. You know what I
And,
mean?
and and you know what? I want to pivot a little bit to that. When you talk about code and you talk about AI, like
Yeah,
you talking about two, like what they had is what separates. I'm gonna use the newer generation from Ben Simmons
yeah,
to an AI and a Kobe. Like just that you're not gonna beat me,
yeah.
and if you
That
do beat me, it ain't gonna be easy. Like
yeah,
Shaq, AI posted his step over Tyrone Lue, and
Yeah.
Shaq underneath his post said, "The hardest motherfucker ever to guard. He won't quit."
Hmm.
That's the legacy that these new guys need to like. I don't know how the Sixers came back after watching The Last Dance and put that performance on that they did that
Yeah.
the other day
And
against the Pacers.
that's what bothers me because I've watched AI evolve, and that never say die spirit is in me. So when I see
Mhm.
Ben Simmons too scared to shoot a basketball, I'm like, bro, you're not made for this. You're not made for this. At least this city, you're not made for it. They're gonna get on you for it. You can't be scared to take a shot. That's crazy. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can take the ball in and do what you got to do, but you got to be able to shoot that shot in order to be effective. You got to give people that situation where it's like, because this is how they play Ben Simmons right now. Ben Simmons be on the perimeter. They take steps back. Why? Because they don't respect the shot. He ain't going to shoot it. We don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? You need to let people know that, look, I'm a threat whether I'm out here on the perimeter or I'm going to take it in. So they got to play closer up on your defense. When you play closer up on defense, that's when I'm going to blow by you. When you step back on defense because you don't think you're going to take that shot, that's when I'm going to take the shot. It's something that Mike had, it's something that Kobe had, it's something that AI had, and it's sad to see Ben Simmons, who's talented, I feel, um, not take full advantage of it.
Now,
So
Maine, now that you just said something perfect because people, you got one part of the fan base that says, "Man, stop with this. You got to be a Philly guy, shit," and then you got another fan base that's like, "Yo, you got to be built for this city."
yeah,
What
you
what
got.
what side are you on?
I'm one of those guys where you have to be built for this city because I can't tell you how many times I've played, and I still play in leagues, blacktop leagues and stuff like that. And you'll get hit hard. They won't call fouls. They won't, you know what I mean? And it's like, but you tough it out. That's what you do. You tough it out. That's the game. Okay, refs is against you. All right, I can't say anything till after the game because if I say something now, they're gonna tech me and throw me out the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's happened
yeah.
before. You know what I mean? So it's like you learn from it. So for me, it's like it's crazy that to see NBA players today and they talk about how hard it is. I'm like, dog, you don't know how hard it is. The reason why I lost my shot at the pros is because when they gave me the open run at the Sixers, and I tried to dunk on a guy and he flipped me over. He uplifted me and I flipped over him and I messed up my
Mm-hmm,
ankle. And that was the game. That was it. But it's not on the Sixers' fault because I signed the
mm-hmm,
waiver saying it was cool. You know what I mean? I
mm-hmm.
can't get on them for it, but it is what it is. But the responsibility from coming with that, I remember how everybody was like, yeah, even family, yeah, he gonna take us to the top. He the man, this he can do this. Then when you don't make it, you see real quick how people aren't on your side, how they walk away from you. You see how
Mm-hmm.
family disowns you. You see a lot of things. And I don't think people understand that. For every Michael Jordan or Kobe that you see, there's 1,000 of them that didn't make it. And they have to deal with that every day. You know what I mean? When it comes to their family, when it comes to their friends, people who stabbed them in the back, people who was riding with them, and then they was only riding them because they thought they had a meal ticket. There's a lot of things that go with this sports stuff. So
And us and we
yeah,
see it all the time, especially with AI. You saw it
yeah,
like he man, like he had a whole I want to talk about he had his moms, he had his friends,
yeah,
he had his cousins, like he had like people don't understand the pressure when everybody got their hand on everybody depending on you one small move. And that's what I kind of feel like bringing it back today, what happened to Fultz. Like he I think he wanted the fame and the money, but he didn't want the responsibility of
yeah.
carrying everybody.
You got to take both. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I practiced back in the day outside in the snow. You know what I mean, or out in the rain, out there just shooting baskets. I can't tell you how many times I've played in a league where everyone else is bigger than me. So I have to put on this thing that I'm bigger than them. I have to play harder than them. I have to, you know what I mean? That's where it comes from. Oh, you 6'4"? Guess what? I'm coming right for you. I'm gonna try to dunk this on you. You know what I mean? You have to be a giant slayer, and sometimes that's how it is. But when you see these guys and they talking this, it's like, nah, man, nah, like this ain't the way to go about it. Sit back and listen to other people, and that's the thing. Also, I think that a lot of players, especially in the league, don't have the right team around them to keep them in
Mm,
check. They got a lot of yes men.
yes, man.
So
That
I mean,
tell you,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's the
that
same. No, go ahead. No, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead,
Go ahead.
go ahead, man. No, go ahead, man. No, I was just gonna say you're right because you get like back in the day, you wouldn't have known about a clutch. You
Yeah.
wouldn't have known about anybody's team.
Nope.
Like, but now it's like the team is bigger. Like now you be hearing about Ben Simmons. Like you'll hear. Like I always wondered. Like why didn't he call Penny? Why is he calling other big guards, Tracy McGrady,
Yeah.
people like that to help
Mhm.
him? Like all you hear is, well, that's not what his team wants. I'm like,
Nah. Look, even Dwight Howard called Hakeem Olajuwon and asked him how to work as a center. Every player that you see in the league today has had somebody they had to call back in the day to say, okay, how do I get better as you? They made this behind the scenes. They ain't gonna let you know unless they say it. But
mhm.
when you have the contact of the people, it tells me, and that's another thing. That's a big problem. Guys coming out of college too early. Now, it's a 50-50 because I mean, let's be honest here. If you go to college and someone offer you say, hey, the NBA is calling, and you thinking to yourself, damn, my family in the projects, they got nothing, people are being shot. I gotta take this opportunity because it may not come next year. So I take that opportunity now. So you see a lot of guys do, 1 year, 1 year college runs. And I understand it, but you also still need your education. That's why I like how Vince Carter did his because he left college early, and when he made it big in the NBA, he went back to college to get his degree. So I was like, it's all good. I was happy for Vince Carter. If people who don't remember, when you weren't around the AI era, okay, the final was it the game between it was a playoff game between the Sixers and the Raptors. And if the Sixers won, they was going to shut the Raptors out. It was over. Vince Carter had to decide what was better: either go get his degree or play against AI and the Sixers. Vince Carter went to go. No, so Vince Carter went to go and get his degree, and Toronto
Mhm.
was pissed. The people of Toronto were mad, and I was like, you can't be mad at somebody trying to get the education. You can't do that. You know what I mean? But he got all his money. That's not the point. You know what I mean? It,
And
it meant something.
and man, you just brought up a deeper issue. It's like when you a black man, it's like, yeah, so what? We need you to jump high. Like,
Yeah.
but
It,
if I tear my ACL, y'all want me to be smart. So
it,
which
there's
one is
always there's always a flip side to it. You're right. You're absolutely right. There's a flip side to it, and I'm telling you now, especially like I said with the radio, none of them dudes, like I said, none of them dudes, they didn't come from these streets. They didn't know how it felt growing up not having nothing. These dudes was just, and if they did, they forgot about it. That's the number one thing you can't do. You can't forget about where you come from because you don't know where you're going next. And it's just sad to see that these radio dudes, like when you posted that picture, I was like, yo, what are you trying to roll his ankle? What's up with this dude? Who is this dude? And it was like, you can't play that game where that soft game. We don't have the opportunity. We don't have the luxury to play that soft game. We don't. You go back down the way, whether it's North Philly, Southwest, or whatever, they gonna size you up even before you get on the court. They size you just for walking down the street. You can't, you cannot. You know what I mean? Be walking around with open toe sandals and carrying on. They're gonna make fun of you unless you go on your own porch. They're gonna make fun of you. So
and man,
now go ahead.
you, no, I was gonna say your whole thing was Philly fans got to hear the truth. Criticism is good,
It's
but
good.
my thing is you've played the game. You've grew up in those streets. You've been on those
Yeah,
courts. You know what it takes to make it. But when I see somebody like a cigar smoking,
yeah, I
golf
can't.
playing,
Yeah, I can't.
Mizanelli, and he's sometimes honestly it turns my skin when I hear white people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. They talk about an athlete like
Yeah,
he's nothing. Like Gargano, you can't call somebody like today he called he said Shake is a nobody. Come on, man.
if Shake
Really?
is nobody, go play him 1-on-1. Let's see what you can do against him.
His fat ass won't even get off the couch.
Exactly. That's the number one rule in the street. If you want to talk about somebody, you better be ready to play. If I turn to you and say, "Yeah, well, I can beat you," and you be like, "No, you can't," I'm like, "Yes, I can." The next thing out of your mouth should be, "I let's settle on the court right now." You know what I mean? That's how it was. We did it with basketball, football. We did it with every sport. That's how we grew
Hmm.
up. It was like, all right, you think you better? Come prove it. That's when all this, and I don't think people remember this back in the day, but how the rivalries were back here in high school. You had was it Gratz versus Ben Franklin, was it was Franklin Learning Center, and you would have these high school teams just go at it. You know what I mean? You had Frankfurt who was going at it. You had it was football too. You had Washington versus Frankfurt. You had North Catholic versus Frankfurt. You had Lincoln versus Judge. You had all these. Like I said, every sports high school had that mentality. And the thing is, they didn't just play. Just okay. Well, we got to play on the was it in the in the area in the gym. They went to they came out to the blacktop to the summer leagues and they played there as a squad. So it was like it was always constant beef,
Mhm.
and they never took it too far to say, "Oh, I'm gonna try and kill you" or some shit. They kept it at basketball, and that was it. That's how we grew up. It's
But beef and rivalry, people act like beef and a rivalry in any type of competition is great. I hate that these players are so lovey dovey, and
I don't
I
like it either.
get it.
I don't
I'm
like it
like,
either.
but man, like you on the floor, like it's nothing. Like I don't care. Objects is everything. You just got your ass handed to you. I remember when I'm trying to remember the year. I think Carell Buckhalter was here
Okay.
and we just got our ass whooped. And the camera panned to him jumping up and down, happy for the other team. He was jumping up and down with somebody as the confetti was coming, and I was like, no, no,
Uh,
no.
we've seen that too much. I think that's also because we have a lot of people who don't understand the grit and grime or passion of fans or the game. Like if we playing basketball, like AI did right to Teron Lou. I did the same shit. I'd have stepped right over him like you ain't shit and kept going. You know what I mean? We can shake hands afterwards, but guess what? Right now, I don't like you at all. And if you beat me, I'm definitely not gonna like you. It's the same way as like back in the day when you played a 16 or 21. When it come down to that final point, everybody and their mom yelling foul. Everybody,
Ooh.
everybody and their mom yelling foul. You could touch them with one fair foul. Why? Because they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose. And then there would be a 10-minute argument whether it was a foul or not. It's like, yo, for these 10 minutes, it could have been over and another team could have been on the court by now. But that's what it is. People don't like to lose here. It's a real mentality that I think people need to adjust to. And I don't think a lot of people do. And it saddens me to see it because it's like, yo, that's what we grew up on. It's like back in the day when you were a kid and trying to learn how to play, the big dudes would come around like, all right, get off the court. Get off the court. They bully you off the court.
But let me use your ball.
Yeah, but let me use your ball. Yeah, but let me use your ball. You got a nice ball. Let us use it. But you got to get off the court because you're too small for everybody. So you always had to prove yourself constantly all the time. It's crazy. It's like I just think that, and I think a lot that also goes was under the radar is when a lot of big YouTubers start talking about pro sports. I decided to go back down and start talking about the local scene because that's where a lot of these athletes that you like to either praise or hate come from. This is the scene they come from. This is where they grew up. This is how they got by. And I think a lot of people don't give them that credit. You got
Mhm.
athletes. I mean, look, AAU is a whole different beast. It's a whole different story for those. And I think that's another thing people don't also understand. AAU ball, they have you playing basketball for like 3 6 hours. You know what I mean? You get to a point where you almost feel robotic. So people just start, okay, game's over, handshake, whatever. We walking off. We just lost one, but it ain't that big of a deal. For fans, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? But AAU builds you to feel as though it's not that big of a deal. And because guys are used to it, LeBron, Melo, all of them the same way. They were, if you watch them in AAU ball, it was constant play, 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 play. But here in Philly, especially when you play, you and your people would drive. You play from North Philly, Southwest Philly. You go up to the Northeast and play. And this is started like 7 a.m. 7
Mhm.
a.m. you out there. You ain't getting home until 10 p.m. The only reason you surviving that long in that heat in the summer is because the place had a water fountain. That was it. We didn't bring our own stuff. You know what I mean? That's all we had. So it was like cool. You know what I mean? That's what we did. So for me, it's like the constant playing like that. But I never lost that spirit where I felt, hey, it's just a game. We lost, we lost. No, every time you're off the court, damn, that's how you felt because you didn't
Mhm.
know if you were going to get another chance to play that day. Because everybody had their own squad, and it was tons of people around the court just waiting for their turn. I got
Mhm.
next. I got next. I got next. You don't know when you gonna come on. If you a hot, if you guy, you hot, and you got the hot hand, and y'all lose. Now I gotta wait probably 30 minutes to play the next game. That heat streak gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I gotta rebuild it back all over again.
And the one thing I love about blacktop basketball, like I'm not a basketball, like I played it for fun and
Yeah,
exercise and to get out of the house. But the one thing I loved about it, and I think you need to go back to that type of atmosphere, is remember you could pick your team, but
yeah,
when it was a lot of people, you better learn quick who you playing with, because
yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So you got to adjust to, hey my man, what you good at?
Mhm.
I got energy all day. All right,
Yep,
just guard.
yep.
Hey
That's
man, I
how it
I
is.
dribble. I can't
Mhm.
dribble. I suck. All right, well just pick a spot on the floor where you good at. I'm gonna get you the ball.
Yep.
So it's simple as that. You don't have that aspect anymore. Now it's like you need a system. You need this. You need that. Basketball is about playing together, being a unit,
Yeah.
having chemistry.
Yep.
Like, stop overthinking stuff. It's a game.
Yeah. It's
When you was on the blacktop, was you talking about box ones or anything like that?
nah.
You like, yo,
Too
get your
busy
man.
scouting.
What are you
Good.
doing? Get
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, you're too busy scouting to see who's good to pick for your team. Sometimes you have four, and you just gotta grab a man just to be on the court. What can
Mm-hmm.
you're not good? It's all right. Don't worry about it. Just get in the court. You know what I mean? We'll put you somewhere. You know what I mean?
Give me
But
five
then,
fouls.
yeah, the only thing and the thing is people don't understand blacktop basketball. You got 2-3 defense. You got 2-1-2 defense, and you got 3-2 defense. There are only three things that people play in playing the blacktop. All right, people understand this. It depends on your team because you don't know if you're going against a bunch of shooters or not. So you have to make sure that you adjust. But those are the only three defensive plays you played on the blacktop, and then you just had to hustle. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's always been the thing. Oh, you don't play defense, then you ain't getting the ball in offense. It's that simple. I'm not. You can be wide open. I don't care. You didn't play no defense. I'm not giving you
And
the ball.
And you know what, man? I want to transition to the gamer side of you, and you just because I quote tweeted you on a quote when dude was talking about how Kobe and 2K1 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I think honestly, I really think, because I'm just gonna call it like it is. Black
I,
people, we run 2K1, and what do we love? We love the blacktop. We
yeah.
love the my player.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
let me ask you this: do you think that comes from pretty much us as people? Like, we've been on the blacktop, we'd be like, man, what would it be like if I was 6'8"? How would I?
Yeah.
What jumper would I have? What would I do? And we love the progression of
Yeah.
going to the league, college, the blacktop.
Mhm.
So what do you? How did you think? How do you think 2K captured that perfectly for the community as a whole?
I'll explain this because I don't know if anyone knows what happens behind the scenes with 2K. But the last 2K game I bought was 2K11, and before that was 2K5. The reason I say that is because we found out when the online was bad for 2K, they were still using 2K5 servers. So they went years and years out of date, and people couldn't get online. As for the blacktop experience, they brought in a lot. For those who don't know behind the scenes, they brought in a lot of underground guys to do mocap. That's how they did it. They would take
Mm-hmm.
information from those guys and say, okay, we're gonna put this game, we're gonna put you in mocap, we're gonna do this, and then they would kick around ideas. 2K these days pretty much sits and watches TV, NBA, and says, that's how we can emulate that. Shot for shot, that's how we're going to emulate it. Camera angle for camera angle. And I had a big problem with that because, especially with 2K11, I called them out. I did a couple videos with 2K11 where I was pissed off because I was like, yo, this isn't capturing the spirit of basketball.
Wait a minute, Maine pissed off? Nah.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm not a fan of Ronnie 2K. I think that he's garbage. I think that he doesn't do his job enough. I think he's soaking up the limelight more than it is actually hustling to know what real basketball is. And the same thing with the developers and producers. I think a lot of these developers and everything, because they always like to scream these days, diversity, blah blah blah. But you never see them down the way recording stuff. Nah, they got their own studio where they want you to come to them. They don't go down to play and see how it is, and that
Get the
bothers
real atmosphere. Get
me.
how it really is. Like,
Yeah,
oh man, this make the authentic. You want the authentic. I hate that word, but you want it to be
yeah,
authentic as much as possible.
exactly.
So when I play 2K, and I don't do like the black stuff. I play more like the simulation and stuff like that. But one thing I want to bring up is, you said that guys don't go down and see, they look on TV. So I'm gonna bring it up. Like, it's a big issue about the ratings. And how
Right.
do they get it? Like, do these be you? I mean, you've been in the bit, you know, behind the scenes. Do they actually? Is basketball people looking at these players? Because some of these ratings be like, you be like, how?
Yeah, it's. I don't think that a lot of people look at stuff. There's a documentary called, I believe it's called Through the Five Boroughs. The Beastie Boys actually produced it. Um, they show you what kids go through in the system from as I think as young as 9 years old all the way up to the NBA. So when you got Kevin Love out there, when you got all these, popular players who made it to the NBA, they talk about it. Nike snatched him up on a deal when he was 9 years old. I was like, what? 9 years old? You know what I mean? Like that's how they do it now. They snatch you up when you're young. They get you an AAU ball. They like the same thing when you see Mel Kiper talk about his fantasy top five or whatever. They tell you straight in the documentary, don't listen to that garbage. Don't listen to that because it's wrong. There's so much pressure that goes along with trying to be in the system and trying to make it to the NBA. And they document it quite thoroughly. I'm very impressed that they did it. I'm very happy they did it. But they exposed a lot of those people that are in the system that ESPN tends to hire for that. I think a lot of these talking heads that you see these days, they don't know what they're looking at. You know what I mean? Until someone becomes big enough to come on, to hit their radar. They don't know anything. When you see a Skip Bayless just sitting there talking and talking and talking, I'm like, dude, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? You ain't never seen this dude. Or you got Stephen A. Smith, and you know what? I need to talk about Stephen A. Smith real quick. All right,
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Stephen A. Smith, New York bred. Okay,
Hmm.
Stephen A. Smith was not good enough for New York, and he came to Philadelphia. And he tried to be the sports guy in Philadelphia. He was at the Inquirer, and he was only the basketball guy. I remember I did a video when Stephen A. Smith was talking about Cole Hamels, about who is Cole Hamels to throw at Bryce Harper and all this. I'm like, yo, Cole Hamels is 2008 MVP. That's who he is. That's who he is. He can do what he wants. And as far as I'm concerned, Stephen A. Smith was completely wrong on this situation. He was just talking about, oh, he's not big enough to be known and all this. I'm like, yo, no one paid attention to Stephen A. Smith when he was here at the Inquirer. Nobody. He didn't get big until he hit ESPN, and then he had his own show, and then he ended up messing up his own show due to the fact that because he was trying to be real about it and bringing athletes on, and then they fired him for it. He lost his show and they fired him. They
And he
couldn't
blew his
find.
relationship. That's the time he blew his relationship with AI.
Yeah, that was the time. And
Running his
what you
mouth.
did
Yep.
was you had Skip Bayless. I remember it was Cold Pizza at the time. You had Skip Bayless, and once the other dude had fallen off. You know what I mean? He was like, "I'm retiring." They didn't have anybody who can match the energy of Skip Bayless or just the amount of absurd things he could say. And they was like, "We can go get Stephen A." So that's what they did. They went and got Stephen A. That was his second chance. Now ESPN tries to use him for everything. They try to use him for boxing, and it's quite clear he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about with boxing. All right, he knows nothing. That's why Teddy Atlas called him out. He don't know anything about boxing. So
He's
it
a
was like
screaming head.
the boxing community was like, "Yo, who got this guy? Who's this guy?" You know what I mean? Like that's how they were. No
Even
one was.
Max Kelly be looking at him like,
Yeah, I think Stephen A. is mad because when he played ball, I believe it was back in college, he got injured, so he couldn't make it to the NBA. So Stephen A. is falling back on his own, things, but he has to realize the game has changed now. The game has changed completely. It's not like it used to
mm-hmm.
be. Yeah, see, look, they say they put him on UFC
Yeah,
against
they
him.
put him.
He don't know a damn thing about UFC. He don't know nothing about fighting. Nothing. Did y'all see
Nothing.
him hit those pads when he was boxing? Did y'all see him
Don't
hit?
do it. Don't no man. Don't.
I was literally just sitting here like, like who taught this man? He was literally like this. I was like, what is this? What is this? It felt like those old Mortal Kombat uppercuts when you played in the arcade. I was like, what is this? I was like, this is not this. This is not how you fight. This is not how you hit pads.
Oh,
So I was mad at Stephen A, but I was more mad at his trainer for letting him get away with it and think, yo, this shit gonna be hot. Let's put it online. Nah, that ain't hot at all.
like oh
Hey,
man,
clean
and that's
gotta stay clean
that.
now.
Yeah, you do look clean, but that's one of the things. And I'm just it's like a little sidetrack. Like I'm going to school for sports management, and I think that's one of the things I'm really thinking about doing. That because sometimes when these athletes push it out, I'll be like, who gave you the okay?
Yeah,
Who said
yeah,
that was okay?
yeah.
Deshaun, who said that was okay?
Yeah.
Stephen A. Who said that was okay?
Yeah, they don't
Hardy.
have
Who didn't tell you that
around them.
was the wrong thing? Like,
Yeah. Like,
but that's one of the
yo,
things I just these guys, they live in a different reality than us.
yeah,
When you
yeah,
wake up and you worth 350 million.
yeah. They can't be told anything. They can't be told anything. They got a bunch of cars, but they can retire today and not have to worry about anything. So when Deshaun said his stuff and Nick Cannon came out and all these people, I was sitting there like this. Just stop. Please stop. Please stop. That's all it was. Please stop. Because you're going to make it worse for us. Damn it, we got to live with this every day. Y'all don't.
Yeah, that's right. We got to live with this shit. Like, and then they lumped us all in. They was like, typical Philly, typical Philly. And I'm like, no, those was Deshaun's views. And he has every right to have his views. And at some point,
Yeah,
but you got to know, it's about the moment. Like,
yeah, it is.
you never quote Hitler.
But
Never,
still,
ever, ever.
it's the equivalent of watching the news and when you hear somebody die, you be like, please don't say they black. Please don't say they black. And then it is damn.
Or like when every time you hear about like a serial killer, like remember the DC sniper? I was like, man, they need to hurry up and find this white guy, man, because he's tripping. And then when they was like, yeah, the DC sniper's black, I said, excuse me, what? No. There's no way the DC sniper is black.
And you'd be amazed on how much athletes say, but I also feel that when they say something like that, like it's like, all right, you need a little bit of education. You know what I mean? It's cool, but the internet be like, yo, cancel him, get him cut, fire. I'm like, y'all didn't fire Riley Cooper when he was talking about beating every nigga up in the stadium.
Every nigga hard.
And Mike Vick helped him through it. And then Mike Vick said, yo, Riley Cooper ain't responding. He ain't answering my messages. Now they got his job back. What does that tell you? Like, you know what I'm saying? What does that tell you? Ungrateful.
And I struggle with that too, because sometimes, like that whole turn the other cheek, or I gotta be a bigger person. You see what happens. Mike Vick, I know he had to feel like, yo, dog, really? I stuck my neck out for you in this?
Yeah.
Really, dog? And that's where I get pissed off when people be like when Jonathan Isaac, he refused to kneel. I was like, okay, leave him alone. He doesn't have to do anything. Because guess what? They're monetizing the struggle.
Yeah.
Them jerseys are selling like hotcakes.
It's been hijacked. Yeah, it has been. So I mean,
once they started making money, the movement was over.
Yeah, I don't even think that. There's a lot of things I see during that movement. Like when the NBA players came out, I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, I don't see not one NBA player getting his ass whooped right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hold on, they saying about, but Nick got in trouble for calling white people savages and talking greasy. He did get in trouble for that. And for those who don't know, Nick Cannon has done so much education now. He's donated to the Jewish, history. He's doing all this stuff to show that, he didn't mean it like that. But it's also another thing is y'all have to remember this, and I hate to use this because Terry Crews gets on my fucking nerves because he said, we got to make sure there's equality in that black supremacy. And what Nick Cannon do? He went and talked that old shit that Malcolm X and them believed in, but he didn't use any of the other tools that Malcolm X believed in. He just talked that one phase. And people took in, and Terry Crews was like, yeah, told you it was going to happen. And I'm like, fuck you, because you picked the lowest hanging fruit just because he thinks he's talking the word of a supremacist doesn't mean he speaks for all of us. So for you to just be like, oh, told you I was right. Nah, you're not right. You just picked the lowest hanging fruit of the bunch. That's all it is. And it really pissed me off. Because I'm just like, yo, Terry Crews isn't what he says he is. And y'all got to stop believing in him. And you got to think. People on Twitter, them right-wing Twitter boys, they like, yeah, we like us some Terry Crews. Because he talking back to black
people.
He
be the favorite. He be their favorite. That's why I don't know if you saw that the tweet one time I did, man, where I said I was like, when I was like, oh man, you can't talk about this because you ain't never served the military. Oh shit. Oh man, you don't know what it is to be a cop. You never. Oh shit. Well, you don't know what it's like to be a black man. Oh shit.
Yep.
It was like I love people having like they don't know how to some people just don't respond to me because that be their go-to.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, sometimes you gotta. At first, I thought long and hard. I was like, I don't want to put what I did in my bio because I want people to be authentic. But then I was like, no, I want to know what people really fucking think. Like, so when you talking shit like, hey, why they ain't just shoot him in the leg? Hey, retired police officer here, you don't aim to shoot people in the leg.
Yeah. I said before when I said that shit, I was like, you can shoot somebody in the leg and still hit a main artery. The fuck is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? You can still die. So for me, it was like, yo, what is this? Is he for real right now? I'm like, did somebody write this? And so when I see all these other pieces, and that's the thing, when we sit here talking about blackness and things, I don't want to leave people out. You know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong, I have dated a number of different women of races.
And we gonna get to that, baby. We gonna
You know
get
what I mean?
to that.
To Brazilian, to whatever. It doesn't matter to me at all. So while I'm thinking about equality, I feel as though Twitter is more divisive, and especially Black Twitter, they're more divisive, and they love for some reason to devalue each other. I hate to see it. You know what I mean? Like, especially when I was on Twitter, I was watching the people from Africa talk about African Americans, and there's a big distinction. Woo.
You remember, man, you remember Sugar Hill, right? The movie?
Yeah.
Remember when they was meeting with the Africans and they kept calling Nakata, and he was like, what is this Nakata stuff? He was like, Black Americans, we don't like working with Black Americans. They think we're lazy. Like, it's a whole nother topic about, but they just don't feel our values. They don't like how we do things. And they really talk greasy. We talk greasy to each other. We all remember African booty scratcher and all this other shit.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, when he said that, he was like, yo, he was like, there's a reason why we sold y'all to the white man for some money. I was like, damn. I was like, yo, they damn. Like, you know, like, for me, it was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, but those are things that come with Twitter. I think a lot of people, especially Twitter, I think they instead of listening a lot, they like to think they know it all. So they like to run their mouth a lot. And then when you correct them, they get mad because they correct it. That doesn't have anything to do with race. It has nothing to do with gender. That's just good old fashioned narratives.
Wrong.
Yeah, it's just good old fashioned narratives. And when they put in check, they get mad. And I'm like, well, then be mad. I don't care. Be mad. You know what I mean? Right. So
especially about sports, because people like nobody wants to be wrong. But listen, we're not analysts. I'm a fan with an opinion. I once said Marcus Smith was a 12-sack guy. When people called me out, I was like, damn, I blew that. I didn't try to come up with reasons why he wasn't. I just was like, yeah, I blew that one.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't own up to a lot of things. They say that's why they be quick to block you and shit. Like, nah, you had this. You know what I mean? Nah, you had this. It's like, yeah, own up to it. A lot of people don't like to hold their L. And it's like, look, we all take L's. You just got to hold it. Like, you go.
Infinite. And you going to take more. And it's okay. L's make you better. Especially when you can laugh about it. Like, damn, I fucked that up.
If you weren't on the back of the bus, all right, when it came from going in, and I mean, the SEPTA bus, if you weren't there and you weren't getting ranked on, they wasn't cutting up on you, you better consider yourself the luckiest person in the universe.
We've all been there when you just sitting there, you like, damn, they killing me.
We always take L.
That's why I sharpen my, like, I'm able to come back on people and be quick, because on the back of the bus, man, you used to get it from all angles. Like, yo, man, you like, man,
nothing. It was getting you. You would think
now you got to be versatile when you're doing the dozens, yo. You got to be able to do. You better be able to go at whites, Asians, blacks, Hispanics. You got to go at them all. But man, let's get to some fun, man. Like, cause I noticed, like when, like, I'll make a comment or something on Twitter about a female, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'll know where your head is at when, based on what you'll say. Like, if I say something about Natalie, you'll be right in there. Like, you'll say something. Speaking of Natalie, what's your ideal woman? Like, because people be like, yo, you be hard on her, but I'm hard on her because it's platform that she has.
It's tough love. I think Natalie,
the platform that she has, she blows it. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, that's what it's exactly. I think that Natalie is one of those people who have the opportunity to do something with her job, but doesn't. She hasn't seen the entire scope of things yet. She's just sitting there being, a nice girl so that you don't have to worry about being fired or whatever. No, speak up. Speak up. Say what you got to say. I would respect her more if she would speak up and say what she has to say, but she doesn't. She just lets these guys railroad her, and then later on Twitter she goes and says shit. Why you got to say it on Twitter? Why don't you say it then in the moment? You know what I mean? Show them that you're not going to be played around.
She picks and chooses because I remember one time, like she'll pick and choose when she want to be a quote unquote feminist or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But Mike is sitting here saying some of the most misogynist,
Yep.
disgusting,
Yep.
gross shit,
Totally the same
and
way.
you're not saying,
Mhm,
yep, 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 yep.
mhm.
You're laughing.
Yeah,
Like, who cares if he's your boss or whatever? Fuck
yeah.
him. Like,
Yep.
where's your
So
values? Where's your morals?
I
Like,
I know Angelo Cataldi. I don't know him very well, but I know people who have been guests on his show, like a Kate Bilo from CBS 10, Weather Girl. Kate, very nice woman. I know her personally. Good person, has kids, husband, and everything. And she went on Angelo Cataldi's show, and he just tore her down the entire time with a lot of misogyny and sexism. And I remember when she got back from the show, she had put on her Facebook, she was like, I'll never work with him again. I'll never be on his show again because he was so rude. He was so nasty. He was so sexist. She was like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I had to put up with that. And I was like, yeah, because I was told it. I was like, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. You have to put up with that. But this is the old, good old fashioned boys club. You have to think. This is where I had said before that the old guard has to go. Your Howard Eskin's got to go. Your Mike Missinelli's got to go. Your Tony Bruno's got to go. Your Angelo Cataldi's got to go. All these people that you're seeing, they stuck still in the old ways. I will never forgive Tony Bruno for what he did when he tried to say that NBA players were thugs, and then he rolled up into the studio with a Golden State Warriors jersey on and a bunch of chains around his neck, trying to be black. I'll never forget that. You know what I mean? Like these are things that happen a lot in the in Philadelphia. I can't say the inner city because they're out there on City Ave. They're not even in Philly, really. It's City Ave. I mean, come on. So, but this is what they do. They come in the inner city. Like I said, you come down to a Kensington, you come down to, what I mean, down to the Badlands, you know what I mean? You gonna get got. It's that simple. You're not gonna play that type of game. No one's going to play that type of game with you. That's why when I believe Ilya Brizgalov, when he was with the Flyers, when Brizgalov was with the Flyers, um, Nat, you think she is using this as a platform? Okay, well, hopefully she is. I mean, I would like to see more of her because she is from quote unquote the inner
I
city.
think a lot of people would like to see more of her.
So I'm telling you, they're gonna ask that only thing. I'm just letting you know. The Sims gonna ask it. But I remember when Ilya Brizgalov was here, when he just thought he was so great with the Flyers, and he said he took one trip down Kensington. He said he stepped on the gas as fast as possible because he wanted to get out of the neighborhood. And I'm thinking to myself, imagine having to live that day in and day out for
I don't
years.
have a mansion to go home to.
Exactly.
This is me. This is
Yeah.
how I live. These
Exactly.
are my family. These are my folks. By the
Mhm.
way, that also may kill or stab me if they hungry enough. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
and that's one of the things these athletes, especially in Philly, you got to remember. Like, and I think the person that got it the most, and I don't know if it was a facade or what, but you can let me know, is homeboy that was the D in here, and he did a lot of things for the basketball courts
Yeah.
for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Um, I felt
Yeah.
like
Connor
he
Ballard.
got
Yeah.
it. Connor
Connor Ballard.
Connor Bauer,
Yeah.
he got it. Like, and man, you can speak to this. I once talked to a white guy who in Trenton, New Jersey. He was in charge of the basketball courts and stuff. And I was like,
Okay.
man, why won't you put a net on the court? He was like, he was
They hang
like,
on him.
yeah, no, he was like
Oh,
because you put a net on the court, they'll want to be here.
that okay. All right. I'll explain this. The number one excuse we get here in inner city when it comes to nets is kids like to jump on the net and climb up on the net and act like they're dunking. They ruin the nets, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. I remember going basketball courts left and right, just handing out, just giving nets. Here, you need some nets. Here's some nets. Um, but I do recall running into things like that because if you put something up that a lot of people rely on, and let's be honest here, black kids rely on basketball a lot. We don't
A
have at
lot.
the time we didn't have the money to go and buy a bunch of baseball gear and play baseball. You know what I mean? So you got one ball that can support 10 people. You know what I mean? That's what you did. So basketball was the game. You know what I
They
mean?
make lemons out of lemonade, yo. I love my people, man.
Exactly. So, whether you even if you didn't have a rim, you had a crate up on telephone pole. You had something. You know what I mean? So you played that. But there has been times I have seen people say, "Well, if you put this up, they're going to come here." Meaning they're just telling you, "We don't want you here." That's their code of saying we don't want you here. And when I always hear that, I say, "Okay, cool. Yo, why don't you show up right now? We got a game. Get ready. Go on." You bring the whole team through. You know what I mean? That's what you do. I remember in Port Richmond, one of the places that's past Samuels, they was like, we don't want a lot of black people there. And when he told me, I was like, really? I said, we got people. Let's go. We went right over there and we played and we dominated. And not once did we have to talk shit. Not once did we, we show all the players, shake hands and stuff. And the people who ran the place was like, that's the first I've ever seen it at. And I'm like, so what you're telling me is that's the first you ever seen black people actually act like sportsmen. I was like, come on, you're like 6 blocks away from the next court. Like, come on, man.
It's
Like,
stupid
yeah,
because number one, I remember, and man, you could say this too. Remember when one side of the court would have a net, and you all know whoever wins, they get the net.
they get the net. Well, that's the thing. It's okay. It's times where there's one net on one side, there's not net on the other side. As you know, nobody who doesn't want to play with the one with the net. Just like nobody wants to play with the rim with the double
Especially
rim.
at nighttime. Did it go in? I think it went in, yo. We
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
We good. We up.
nobody wants to deal with that. So you get people like, yo, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he does say trade. Did it go in exactly? Because you be like, I
Yo,
don't know if it did or not. And you gotta look around. People, sometimes people cheat. You gotta find somebody on the side that was watching the game, like, yo,
12 up. We 12 up. Nah, that didn't go in. We 12 up. We 12 up. Hold.
Yep, happens all the time. So for me, it's like, all right, you know what I mean? You try to have nets. But if someone, because the first thing you say is, oh, we're going to take the net first. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, because in the second half, we're going to get that set. Think you pick the first rim, we get first ball. We bringing it up. You know what I mean? We get no jump tips. You know what I mean? No jump tips. So for me, it was like, yeah, it was good. If you ended up on the net at the end of the game, you're going to see such a difference in the first half compared to the second half. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it was. We playing the 16, all right, we switch at 8. We playing the 21, we switch it, you know what I mean? That's how we did it. So it was like, all right, y'all got that, but we get the good nets. We good. You know what I mean?
And that's the funny thing, because like talking about basketball, like we get it. It's always gonna be an Eagles town, but the Sixers, man, basketball in Philadelphia, it's just, you know why? Because it transcends race. Like it started from the bottom. Like it's just 10 of your homies and a basketball all day, sun up, sundown. You can't play football sun up, sundown.
That's how I still watch the game. I still like 10 of my homies sitting there running. Like when I watched last night Houston versus Milwaukee. And I'm sitting there thinking, yo, they're not even trying hard enough for me, man. I was like, it looked like a gym run. I was just like, it looked like a bunch of dudes.
146 to 146. And
it was like 120 something, almost 120 something. I was like, yo, ain't no one playing defense. Ain't no one doing nothing. James Harden was in foul trouble in the first half. I'm like, what's going on? But he don't want to be flopping all the time. I even posted the picture on Twitter.
Kicking people in the ball.
Yeah. I'm like, how is that possible? I'm like, NBA on their bullshit. I'm out of here, man. I can't do this. You know what I mean? And always get you with that. So
I think James calls his own fouls, yo. I think he's back to street ball. He calls his own fouls, yo.
Jordan was calling his own fouls back in the day. Popular players get, they get special treatment. We all know that. It's not right.
Bubba Chuck got it. I used to love Bubba Chuck get the call and then get right back up. He never let anybody see him stay on the ground.
Nope.
And that's hard. That's the heart of basketball.
I hate him so much because he was always beating us all the time. That's so. I mean, from a competitive standpoint, I'm like, yeah, we got Charles Barkley. We got this. Here comes Jordan. You motherfucker. Can't have a damn thing.
And the last dance, if the last dance didn't let you, and I gotta ask you, bro, while we got you on.
All right.
Jordan and LeBron, like, let me give you my take about it. LeBron was about to be, like, he was supposed to be touted to be that heir apparent, that guy that would match Jordan. But I saw once he became 3-9 or 3-6 in the finals, it shifted to, and ESPN helped them with LeBron is the first player to have 30 points on a Tuesday while it's raining. Like these weird stats to put him above MJ. And I'm like, no. We still stopping at 6.
Yeah.
When you tell me you 6-0, 6 MVPs, then you can tell me you the GOAT.
And
What
you
is
got to
your
be
thing about that?
first on offense, just scoring, assist. Like it's weird because the best pure scorer in the game right now is Kevin Durant. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh yeah.
Pure score.
The Slim Reaper.
Yeah, and he's scary because if anyone saw him at the Rucker when he was in New York, the first thing I thought was that's the toughest man to probably guard because he's so long and he's so thin, but he can shoot the lights out if he needed.
He loves the game. He's really like he's legit. He'll play you for free.
Yeah.
And that's the passion I miss in the game. Like show up at the remember the greats used to just show up at the Rucker. Like you a millionaire, you play with the GOAT, so you showed up at the Rucker for a pickup game?
Yeah. That's how it was. It was crazy because even at the Rucker, you gotta think, even in the early 2000s, you had Terror Squad trying to run things with their own, team. That Jay-Z with Rock had his own, team. He specially handpicked. Like people was trying to win a chip in the Rucker because it was so big. So they brought, they went and got Pee Wee and all that, to bring him out and talk and everything. And it was like I didn't like the fact that there was so many superstars at first. I'm like, yo, this is not what we're supposed to be doing. But then when Terrell Owens got dunked on, that was the end of his career right there. He was done. He was like, I think I could play basketball on a major level. Old boy dunked him in Rucker. He heard nothing.
And but go ahead, man. I'm sorry. But the MJ and LeBron, where you stand on it?
I stand with MJ because even in the Last Dance, he was like, if they didn't break up the team, they probably would have got 7 or 8. They'd have got more. That's bad management from the Bulls. That's not MJ. That's the Bulls. I think that Michael Jordan was more of a pure scorer. I think he was just heartless on the court. He didn't care. And I don't see that in LeBron. I think when he went to Miami, that's when things got bad. Because if you notice, when he was in Miami, he started flopping. He started acting like he was hurt fouling. I mean, his own man hit him once, and he was like, "Oh, I wouldn't have acted so hurt if he didn't hit, if I knew it was my own man." What? Like, I'm not a fan of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, LeBron got skills. Don't get me wrong. He got skills. But I can't put him on the level as Jordan because of the fact that he doesn't have that killer mentality. He does.
And I'm about to say something real controversial. And I don't care if you can say it's because rest in peace, but he ain't on the level of Kobe.
I'm used to it.
He ain't on the level of Kobe. Kobe was
no, he's not. He's not. Kobe emulated MJ.
Sociopath. With all due respect, him and MJ was sociopaths.
Yeah, they were driven. Yeah.
It just nothing was ever good enough. Like nothing.
I know how that
Even with 6, Jordan was like, he was hurt when he was like, they was like, what do you think about when he is 6? He was like, we could have won 7.
Yep.
Like he was hurt.
Yeah.
It still hurts him because he think he could have won 7, and I think he could have too. Goddamn it.
Yeah. So, I mean, did y'all see the video last week when he was shooting the lights out? Was it at the park? And he was like, "Y'all need to go to Wikipedia and go see who I am."
Some people just have it, yo. Some people remember. I always love like the "fuck them kids" meme when Chris Paul was like, "Yo, if you miss it, you got to buy all these people sneakers." Yeah, he all like, banging on the court.
Fuck them kids. That's where that meme came from. They don't care. And I remember,
and you gotta be that way. What up, KM?
Yep, what's going on? Was it MJ? It's weird because I don't know if y'all know, but I follow Stephon Marbury and he follows me. We talk like when we talk about like his new his Netflix special came out, documentary, Kid from Coney Island is on Netflix right now. It was a good thing, and the reason I like Stephon Marbury and I've been following for so long is because when Jordan and Nike, they were getting over on people when it came to how high shoe prices were. And, Marbury came through with the Starberries and was like, nah.
Changed the game.
Yeah.
He changed the game.
Yeah, and I know a lot of there's hits and misses with it because I know there was some dudes back in the day was like they fell apart quick, and there's other dudes was like nah they stood the test of time. Then Shaq got into it and made his own shoe line. Shaq's it was at Kmart. You know what I mean? You go to Payless and you know
I
it
was gonna
was
say real quick, and remember when KD first came out with his shoe, he was like, "Yo, when I grew up in DC, like I couldn't afford it." So he told Nike, he was like, "Yeah, remember his shoe was like 90. It was like
yeah
$80 or $90."
yeah
But then the machine got behind it, and it was
yeah
like, well, Nike was like, "We can't sell your
yeah.
shoes. They're
I've
too popular. We can't sell your shoes for 80,
I've
90."
always had a problem with the machine because I remember for a long time, even since the '80s, um, you had people who were killing people over shoes. You know what I mean? Where the Air Force Ones, they were Barclays, they were Ewings, and I remember the old Ewing shoe. Where
Oh, with the ball, you
yeah,
kept the keychain on the side.
yeah,
Yeah,
you had the Reebok pumps. You had the who was it? One of them Celtics had some too. I forgot who it was, but
I
his
think D Brown. D Brown had the
yeah
pumps.
yeah his shoes was nice. Um, Dr. J had
Larry
shoes.
Johnson had
Yeah, Larry
Larry
Johnson
Johnson
had
had
Converse.
Converse.
There's a
L.A. Gear.
yep, LA
Karl
gear.
Malone.
All these people had their own shoes, but they was getting stuck up for them. They was getting killed for them. And not one athlete spoke up, not even Jordan, to say, "Hey, this is not right." And even to this day, Nike still has these, limited time things. I'm like, did y'all not learn anything from the past? You know what I mean? Like
And
people are dying.
people are like, man, I'm talking about like upwards to $1,000 for a pair of shoes because they're so limited. I'm like, I get you want the hype, but Jordan is iconic in itself that there's going to
He's
be
always,
hype
yeah,
regardless.
yeah,
So just give people what they want.
yeah,
Give people what they want. You got more than enough money than you need. So what a Jordan here and there might go on sale or retail. It's okay.
yeah.
It's okay. But like, man, but you speak a good one, man, when you talk about the shoe game. And I remember when Marbury's first came out, and I was like, Marbury. I was like, all right, remember the Travis Speedway had spinners on
Yeah,
his
Reebok
shit?
had his own. He chose
Everybody had their own shoe,
he
yo.
got freeze because he had the spinning rim on his sneaks. You know
Yeah,
what
he had a spinning
I
rim
mean?
on his
I
shoe,
remember
yo.
that.
I'm like, and now you kind of got it coming back with the collabs and stuff,
Yeah,
but now they're they're kind of a mockery now. Not
yeah,
Kanye. I'm talking about like the Virgil Ablohs,
yeah.
like shit where you got like a zip tie on the side. I'm like, what the? That's not the game. That's not the game.
I think
That's
I
not the
think
game.
I think that rappers were like they had so much influence that when they started getting basketball sneakers, I'm like, why are you getting basketball sneakers? You don't play basketball. You rap. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so ingrained in the culture that it was like it almost became acceptable. Like I said, I can tell you,
Right.
I still see people to say when something's out, I'm walking through the city, you know what I'm saying? I see people with tents still, hanging out waiting for sneaks. I'm like, yo, y'all understand there's still a pandemic going on, right? What y'all in this tent for waiting for sneakers? What's wrong with y'all? But they don't care. They be out there waiting. They be out there in line overnight. I'm like, y'all got that. So for me, it's kind of scary to see, but I mean, basketball isn't what it used to be. It's not. Like I said, when I watched the Last Dance, I damn near was just sitting there like I felt like I was in the '90s again. I was in the '80s and '90s again because of all the stuff they were showing. I'm kind of pissed off that they didn't do a special with Dennis Rodman because let's be honest here. All right, when he left the Bulls to go to Vegas for that short time, that should have been documented. All right, that alone was a documentary. All right, God knows what he was doing over there. You know what I mean? So I would have liked to see that, but Scottie Pippen should have had one. With oh wait, I can't hear. I can't hear you. Oh, headphone. Oh. I still can't. Hold on. I still can't hear you. Hold on. Hold on. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I still can't. There
Man,
you go. Now I can hear
okay,
you.
all right. Now I connect to my headphone. But the main shit I'm talking about, like during the last dance, you got Jordan, the baddest man on the planet. Arguably, right then, he was the best player ever to touch the floor. And he went to field test. He said, "Yo, Dennis Rodman is losing his mind.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?" He was like, "He want to go to Vegas. Let him
Yeah.
go."
Let him go.
And then MJ went to get him.
Yeah. Him and Pippen.
You
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
go get Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
That's because that man knew he's vital to what I do. So when people say Jordan was a bad teammate,
I ain't that.
bullshit.
Nah.
Bad teammate to you if you couldn't cut it. You was a fucking scrub.
Nah. He pushed players to expectations. He had expectations of himself. So he looks at everyone else and say, you should have the same expectations. It's the same thing. I think the sad part is that I think that within life, I think we can all agree that not everyone's going to live up to those expectations. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You push yourself harder and say, I expect it from everyone else like I do myself. And then when it doesn't happen, you get mad at those people. You feel like they failed you. And with Jordan, that's how he was. It was like, let's be honest here. I mean, even when they told him you can't play because you're injured, he was still trying to sneak in minutes when he was injured. You know what I mean? Like he just wanted to be playing. That's all it was because it's all he knew. It's all he did. It's that drive. And I don't think you're ever going to see a drive like that ever again. I mean, we saw some in AI. The only person I can say that's remotely close to AI is Russell Westbrook, even close.
Yeah, he's just a mean old bastard.
Yeah, he attacks the rim like he should. He attacks the rim like he got a problem with it, and that's the only reason why I like watching Russell Westbrook.
That's why he wears 0.
Yeah,
because he.
attack the rim.
The greats, they find a reason to hate.
Yeah.
Themselves, like you said, you look in the mirror and you ain't good enough. Nope. I got KM in the chat. He's the same way. Like you're always trying to make today better than yesterday. Mm-hmm. Now, did you succeed? That's subjective, but the fact that you keep going, that was what's up, man. I want to flip it. Like let's go back to the whole the women thing. Like, because it's a lot of them on Twitter, of course, and you know me and you, we rap about it a lot. I see the thirst traps and the constant pandering for attention or whatever. What is main ideal woman? Like, is it on Twitter or is she somewhere else being created in the lab? Like, tell me what is it?
It's a tough question because you'd be amazed who you can meet on Twitter. But being in Philadelphia, I've gotten to the point where because I've been through so much with crazy people, I feel I can't trust really no one in Philadelphia. So for me, I guess it would be on Twitter, but I don't put myself out there. I don't at all.
I got you.
You know, I pick up on cues on when people say certain things, and then I'd be like, nah, not feeling that. You know what I mean? Because you kind of you put yourself out there of what you're really about. And like I said, I talked to you before. You know, the one girl, oh, she cute, but when you see that mentality, it's like, nah, not gonna have it. Nah, because no one's gonna put up with that. No one's putting up with that.
Nobody.
You know? They gotta learn the hard way. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate the ladies staying in shape and working out. I mean, me and Jess talk. I know she got a guy, but we just talk just to be kicking shit. You know what I mean? And I don't really talk to Britt that much, but when I do, every once in a while, it's always about her in the gym. So every once in a while, I cross paths with some of the females. But overall, it's one of those things where it's like you just got to find it where you can, I guess, find it. I guess. I mean, for me, I don't sweat that shit. Like I don't chase at all. I don't chase at all. If they want to come to me, they can come to me. You know what I mean? If they think I'm interesting, then I'm interested. If not, well, not a big deal. I just don't like guys who constantly hound women and constantly like the other day, yesterday. Yeah, that thirst is crazy. The other day, some New Yorker, some girl, she had made some video about Trump, and it was some type of dance. And I was like, I don't like the dance. I was like, but you pretty. I was like, but you cute. I'll give you a pass. You know what I'm saying? I was just joking. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She liked the tweet. Then some dude was like, you a simp. You this, that. I'm like, God damn.
You didn't say you wanted to drink a bath water.
I said one thing to one person on the internet, and automatically I'm labeled. I'm like, you don't know my receipts, do you? You don't know my history. You must have go somewhere with that. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me, it's like it was crazy to be labeled that.
It's a fine line between simping, man, because it'd be so weird. Because like sometimes I'll be like a girl would be like she'll be like, oh my God, my third toe is so ugly. I'm feeling really ugly today. And then you got that man underneath that's like, yo, you perfect, and any man that don't think that, he's stupid. Now that's simpage.
That's simple.
That's
Yeah,
simpage. Cause
that's simple. Yeah,
what are we doing here? Like,
yeah. There's a
you don't
big
know.
there is a big how can I put this? A big community for simping. I think a lot of women who have the assets use them towards their advantage. Now, why I can sit here and say it's unfair. I can't tear off my shirt and start showing my muscles and think I'm gonna get money for it. I
OnlyFans.
it depends how hard they push for it because
Mhm.
I'm sure on Twitter y'all see there's times where some girl will be like, "Oh, I'm such and such," and I'll be like, "Bitch, blah 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 blah." You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I gotta let her have the business. But other than that, I'm like, I'll allow it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll allow it. But other than that, it's like, nah, you going too far. You gotta catch this L. You know what I mean? Like that's how it is. So for me, it's like, okay, So I mean, you almost got to catch me on what day it is and how I feel at the time. So it's like I'm mad. Everybody get me. You know what I mean? Like
And
that's how it
sometimes
is.
it be them days, cause
Yeah.
I'm happily married. My wife, like, oh, God bless her soul, to put up with
Mhm.
my ass. But when I be seeing some of the TikTok, I'll be like, yo, if I had to date now,
Tcha, tcha.
I
Yeah.
think it'd be Pornhub all day, because I don't want to put up with that. People
It's
blowing
too
up your cars, blowing
now.
themselves up.
Yeah,
I That's not the
it's too
game.
crazy.
That's not the game.
It's not. And people don't know how to chill either. It's like yesterday when I was reading that thing about the girl was like, oh, she was mad at her boyfriend because he thought a certain way. So she was like, so every day she was like, oh, I didn't pay the rent because apparently I'm too stupid to pay the rent. I was like, yo, she taking that way too far, B. You got to go. You gotta go. I mean, come on. You talk about rent here. You got to have a roof over your head. You know what I mean? You want to play these games? Nah, can't do it. Gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of people who just go. They're just very extra about
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't because I got to protect myself first before anyone else. You know what I mean? So it's like, nah, I can't get on Twitter and be like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" I can't do all that.
And we had this conversation about yeah, I think it was Hispanic girls. He was like, yeah, yep, yep, yep,
They
no, they, yo, listen, listen, listen.
all right, okay, okay. Let's do this. Let's do this.
You
All right.
sound like a man that just knows.
First off, Latinas. Hold on. First off, I'll let it be known because a lot of people know it's not a secret, really. They are my kryptonite. Okay, they are my kryptonite. The attitude on them at times can range from sassy and be like, "Oh, that's kind of cute, that's kind of sassy," to "I'm getting the fuck out of here because you crazy." Like, there's a difference. It's the same Italian girls too. Like it's like, "Oh, that's cute," but then when they go full force, all right, I'm out of here. Fuck all this.
When they
It,
start using their hands, I'm gone. Time out.
it's some people take it too far. So for me, it's like, all right. But like I said, I think that there's room for it. But it's like that Dave Chappelle joke where he's like, I don't know, he smacked the water, he just runs. That's me. Nah, get out of here. Like I'm out of here. I think that it's one of those things where you just have to be. It has to be right. If it's not right,
Yeah.
like if I'm joking with you and you see, okay, he's joking with me, he wants me to fire back at him purposely so he can like ping pong, so he can just knock it back and keep going. And instead of getting super serious and be like, what do you mean? I can't do all that. I can't do that because you're taking it. Well, it's Twitter. I can't. I'm not doing it. It's Twitter. Twitter's not real.
Mhm.
It's not. And
Yeah.
they think
You've
that it's
seen
real.
it. Like, you see
Yeah.
some people who make a mistake and forget to put the filter on,
Yep.
or you
Yeah. I
find a
saw
picture of
earlier.
them from back in the day, you be like,
No, earlier what you said when the girl was like, "Yo," chick was like, "I feel better about myself because I got these fake eyelashes on," and you was like, "Yeah, exactly." I was you see how you acting? That's how I was like. You were like, "So you mean to tell me?" It was almost like Maury Povich. She was
you're
like,
born with
"What you're
them.
saying
You're
is
born with
a lie."
eyelashes.
Yeah,
And she was a cute Asian girl, so
yeah,
I
she
was
was. Yeah, yeah.
confused.
I know, she was. But when she said that, I was like,
Eyelashes make you
"Ah,
feel
man."
better?
He was like, and
Oh,
she answered you. She was like,
yes,
"Yeah." I was
yeah,
like, "Oh, it hurts even worse." Like, why you even say that? Damn.
yeah. And she had the sad face emoji. I'm like, oh man, no, that's what you got to be like Drake. Like, you don't have to do this. You
Yeah,
don't have to do
you
this.
don't. You don't have to put yourself out there like that. You really don't. And I think a lot of people expect
Oh
it because so
man.
many others do, but you don't have to. Like I don't put myself out there 100% of the time. Trust me, if y'all knew what went on in my brain 100% of the time, and I spilled it all over Twitter,
You
y'all like,
just said it 100% of the twat.
yeah, warrior. But all that.
Oh, I
I'm
don't
just
miss
saying,
nothing, man. I don't miss shit.
yo, I see,
100% of the
but I
twat.
see,
You're like, what?
yeah,
He said twat? Yeah,
like,
he
see,
said
there's
twat.
those type of times like I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. And then when you bring it up, I'm like, why are you talking about old shit?
he said it. You know he said it. If you knew what going in my brain 100% of the twat, I'm like,
What? Listen,
what?
I got to bring old shit. He said, we just saw it 5 seconds ago. It's old shit. Why bring it up? Like,
Oh, karate. Did you hear about that, man? I'm pretty sure you did. About the cereal classic Jeff at the tailgate, the Eagles tailgate.
nah, what
Drinking
happened?
drinks and shit. You didn't hear about that?
Who was with?
The Fourth and John tailgate,
Okay.
classic Jeff, this guy on Twitter, a whole bunch of women came out and said that he was assaulting them. He was putting shit in their drinks. He didn't
All
know
right.
boundaries,
All right.
and it was a whole big deal
It's time,
about
it's
it.
time to get a little bit serious for a minute. All right. First off,
Yeah.
let's say that I did have a girlfriend once who did get slipped something in her drink and she was raped.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with that situation was very, very tough. And I remember when I supported her about it, I don't want to call him a liar. And it's such a serious accusation. She was upset at me for being so supportive. That's just crazy. But Fourth and John, let's have this talk. This is my Captain America moment where I turn the seat over and we have this talk.
Oh boy.
If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be where you're at. Yeah, I'm saying it. Okay. And don't think, E-Rock, that I forgot that you were supposed to play me one-on-one steady quarterback football. And once you found out I had played semi-pro football, you backed out. Let's not forget that. Okay. Now, I know that was it. There's a
Tea
couple of
time.
I think yeah, I'm just saying. I think Mike still follows me. He seems to be cool all the time. You know what I mean? He's cool. The Fourth and John podcast, I don't listen to. Not because I don't like them, but because the way I see it, it's more like I paved the way to do what you know what I mean for them to do them. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem at all with that. That's cool. But when you have a guy who is assaulting people or trying to drug people like that, they need, and I'm going to say this as easy as possible, as simple as possible for everyone. They need to whoop his ass right there, right now, and make a statement. That's simple. And it needs to be done. Now, you have all these women come out and say this. Clearly, there's something that's going on. If you did not see it, maybe because y'all had drank a little bit too much or whatever, I don't know what the case may be. But the case is, if it's true, whoop his ass. And I mean, you get a bunch of dudes that's sitting around. I don't care if you're with your girl or not. Guess what? Go and dump on him. He needs to learn a lesson so that he doesn't try it again. It's that simple. All right? It's that simple. You can't just have one enforcer. When you are in a tailgate, you are the enforcer. No matter how many men there's not. I understand everybody wants to play and have fun and drink and party, but
But some shit transcends that.
you still have to have some type of awareness of what's going on. So if this guy's doing this and you find out, all right, let's go handle this, and you do what you need to do, and then he never comes back. I heard that they're not having a tailgate this year. Then again, I don't
Yeah,
think
no, yeah,
anything this year
they
because of the
canceled.
pandemic.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah,
so but I mean,
WP's out.
yeah,
WP's sick.
yeah, but I didn't know girls was beefing with it. But I mean, do we know
Yeah.
exactly who it was by name? I mean,
Yeah. His name was his Twitter handle was Classic Jeff, but
oh,
he's no longer
oh,
on.
wow, okay, classic. Oh, I know. Okay, classic Jeff.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
now I know.
yeah,
Classic
yeah.
Jeff. I know that he's still around, but he's what, on Facebook or something like that.
He's not
Um,
on Twitter anymore. I know
no, I'm
that.
saying that. Okay, if people know where Classic Jeff is, or they know that he's going to be around, to be honest, if he's not going to hold the L for all that, then you got to bring it to him still. I mean, I'm sorry, but if it was my girl and someone slipped her, he tried to slip her a drink because he wanted to do something assault to her. Guess what? I'm going to go where I'm going to knock on his door. You know what I mean? And as soon as he opened the door, he's just going to catch it. I'm not trying to hear, oh, we need to talk and hash it out. I'm not trying to hear all that. You know what I mean? I think that the Eagles fan base tends to at times get a little bit full of themselves. And that's where I have the problem with the fan base because it's still, at the end of the day, we're still just fans. It's still football. But when you have predators like this in your community, you have to get them out as fast as possible and send the message that nobody else that does this is allowed at all. You can't just let it sit by the side. You can't just call it. I personally wouldn't call it drama. I think that's more than drama. That's a serious accusation. That's a very serious accusation.
Absolutely.
And he can duck or get a new screen name. I mean, they're doing the same thing with video games right now. You know what I mean? There were so many people that were caught being pedophiles and sexually assaulting women.
And they just changed their screen names.
Yep, get them out of here. Yeah, they were switching screen names. So I think that people wouldn't find them and all. Nah, get them out of here.
Sickness. That's when you know it's a sickness that you do whatever it takes to get your little fix. But that's I'm talking about. What KM was really talking about, I jumped the gun on that one. I forgot that he was talking about, and you just brought him up, Jess and Britt.
Friday Mark said wasn't what he was talking about. He was like wasn't there a
he was talking about the Twitter beef with Jess and Britt. They was going at it with somebody from Eagles Twitter.
Well, first off, Jess and Britt can outlift him. I'm gonna say that now. They can outlift him. All right. If you just see the stuff they do with squats, they can outlift him. All right. Now, if he get mad about that, well, then he going to have to prove it and get his weight up. That's that simple. But you can't just be coming at women, especially when they're trying to better themselves, or anybody for that matter, when they're trying to better themselves, and just try to piss on their parade. You can't do that. You have to keep positive.
And for the most part, because me and Jessica follow each other. Britt doesn't follow me because I guess she got an attitude or whatever. That's fine. But I think the issue with when it came with Jess and Britt was they would say certain things about men, and then men would clap back. And then they would go the victim route, and then it turned into this whole like, well, if you're gonna say this, then we have the right to come back at you. Now you can't say, well, why you say that? Yeah. So I get it on both sides, but that's the thing about Twitter, man. When man, KM, everybody, if you put something out there, you gotta know that it's gonna come back. It's a boomerang.
Yeah, it's gonna come back to you. It is.
And you can't catch feelings because once they know you catch feelings, they got you.
They're gonna lock down even harder. Exactly. If you're gonna take a shot at somebody, you better be. I apologize. If you're gonna take shots at people, you have to be 100% correct, and you have to shoot for the head, pretty much. There's none of this lovey-dovey play back and forth until like I said, you can do that with trolls and have fun, but when you really get on somebody and they come back at you, you better be able to suck that up when they come back. And like I said, Jess has never given me a problem. Britt has never. Like I said, I rarely talk to Britt. Every once in a while, Jess will retweet her and I'll say something. I think is it Gina? I don't really talk to her that much. But other than that, I really don't talk to many of them. You know what I mean? Like every once in a while. But but Jess is the most active I've seen. So her and I talk, and she's doing what she's doing. But I mean, Classic Jeff is not going to outlift those chicks. I don't think people understand when it comes to squats. Squats, while I love squats, I think women, because of their natural body, are more. They're built to do squats. You know what I mean? They're built. They're built to do squats. I understand. I'm sure there's some men like, no, I can squat this, and this. You don't get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So, it's one of those things. But like I would never put somebody down who's trying to better themselves. And I remember someone had made fun of Jess's nose, and I'm like, I don't see what the problem is. You know what I mean?
I don't see where her nose has to do with her just lifting 250 pounds. Like, I'm confused.
And so people try and find a shot, and when
because they're miserable.
Well, that's when you find out, okay, you ain't got nothing else to talk about. You out of ammo. You done.
And you look at their picture, and you're like, oh, you're mad. You need to be asking her, like, can you come? Can you help?
Like, what's your workout regimen? Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, it's one of those things, and I feel when I see, sometimes I see that with some of my fan base. The girls get jumped on for not even saying the most harmless things. I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? Go take that shit somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta stick up sometimes. And it's like, and because once you get your following base, usually like with my following, we treat each other like a family. So if somebody's in trouble or something, we come help out. You know what I mean? We always back each other. That's what we do. You know. He said some girls got a hatchback, and others got a Dodge Magnum. Yeah, thank you.
Some people can be Serena Williams, and some people can be somebody else. Listen,
yeah. No, he's telling no lies right now. So
now
it's like,
speaking of that, who's the main top 5? Like, give me the top 5.
That's hard because I really don't have a top 5.
I bet you the top 3 is Hispanic.
Salma Hayek's got to be in it. I was going to keep J-Lo out, but after seeing the Super Bowl halftime show last year with her on the pole,
you should have been in heaven. 2 Hispanic women. You should have been like,
yeah. Well, and Shakira, right? Yeah, right. But damn, can't escape them. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of let's see. I already talked about Hispanic women. Black women, oh my God. Nia Long is still a favorite. Nia Long. Was it the girl that was in Raising Dion? I forgot her name because I posted towards her before. And because people was like, I don't see how y'all can like mix women and blah blah. Like what? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so, they tried that shit with Jill Scott, and we see where that ended.
Yeah, you got big on that one. That was hit. And then Bull was like, "Oh well, I get it. It's just an energy thing." Nah, it's not an energy thing.
You just do you see her?
Exactly.
You know what? I don't make me mad about that.
No, it's just old boy didn't know what he was talking about, and Twitter got on his ass. So yeah, and he deserved it. Rightfully, he deserved it. It's not
deserved that shit all day.
Yeah. So I mean, there's also, let's see. I mean, you gotta think. Damn.
I know I put you on the spot. So many flavors.
I know it's hard. It really is hard. It really is. I'm gonna say, what's that chick? What's her name? She married Sacha Baron Cohen. What's her name? I forgot her name. Amy. No, not Amy Smart. I forgot her name. She's Canadian, I think. Damn.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know her name.
She was on Wedding Crashers, and she's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, with her.
Yeah, she bad.
Sofia Vergara. She looks great now.
I told you, didn't I tell you your top?
When you see her in her 20s,
I told you.
Crazy. I can't stay away from Latifah. It's kryptonite, man. It's kryptonite.
Salma Hayek.
Salma Hayek. Yeah, she's on the top of the list for that at least. Shakira, J-Lo, they're all, it's hard for me, man. It's because I'm like a dog. It really is.
No, man, what's the like New York has Spanish Harlem. What's the Spanish part of Philly?
I'm gonna say Kensington. I'm gonna say Kensington, probably going west Kensington, because there's a divider between Kensington and Port Richmond. But it seems like the Spanish women are starting to go up to the northeast because people get kicked out of their houses because they're gentrifying the areas and they can't afford the stuff anymore, so they're moving more and more up to the northeast. But it used to be Kensington. Kensington is just crazy. He's saying off Tabor Avenue. All right, well, I can say that. Yeah, North Philly, off Tabor Avenue.
You don't be slow driving by there, do you, man? You like?
No, I don't slow. I just drive regularly. No, I don't be doing that. Nah, like.
Give me.
You can't do that. The only time you can slow drive is like if it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, because Kensington don't sleep. But all the crackheads be up time, all the dealers be up time, so you can slow drive through it without being suspect. But that's it. Other than that, you just keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. But
so if I'm coming to Philly, man, what's one street you'll tell me, yo, do not go on that street without somebody from Philly with you? Give me that street.
I'm going to say A Street. A in Allegheny, probably. A in Allegheny.
So I would have to have Maine or Karate Mark with me.
You have to have somebody with you. You got to have somebody with you. Because down there in the Badlands, they don't play that. You know what I mean? They just shoot for fun down there. That's what they do.
I do now.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what they do down there. When the later it gets, the more hostile they get.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it is what it is, with that. But I mean, really, if you're gonna come down to Philly, you looking for women or something like some type of entertainment, hit the strip clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Hit them
Mm-hmm.
hard. I know how it feels to be security in strip clubs, and you can't damn near do your job. It's kind of
You
hard.
kicked out Aguilar? You kicked out Nelson Aguilar?
I got Nelson. We had a couple Eagles come to the other joint I was at. We had a couple of Philadelphia Soul cheerleaders come to the other joint I was at. We had to kick
Mm-hmm.
some of those guys out because they were like the girls is like four of them. They're dancing with each other, but then you just see how the pattern goes. All these guys just start surrounding them and like, hey, how you doing? Hey, it's like, nah, back up, get in their space. You know what I'm saying? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. The nightclub.
What's it like being a bouncer at a strip club, man? Like
You gonna get see. You asked me. You asked me
listen,
probably all the time.
listen. You,
I have
I asked the question, you knock them down. Listen,
I got a billion stories. I mean, a billion. I mean,
give me one that you could tell. One that you could
one.
tell.
Okay, all right. So we have to regularly go through the bathrooms, right? So we can see if anybody's in there fucking, right? What you don't expect is when you kick that and you get in the men's room and you kick open the stall that two dudes is doing coke while sucking each other's dick.
This has been real time. This is main event. Appreciate you coming on camera. I would have quit that night.
I'm
I
telling
would have
you,
quit that night.
so I kicked open the door, was like, what?
I would have quit that night.
And it was like,
Oh,
and yo, they looked at me like, we ain't doing nothing. And I'm like, what you mean we ain't doing nothing? Man's got his feet out. Like, the coach is on the side of the thing, on the side of the little was it little shuffles piece? Bruh, I've seen so much in my time being a bouncer. I can't tell you, most of the fights that you break up in the men's bathroom because they'd be like, yo, you taking too long. I gotta go bathroom. What the fuck? They get all mad by each other. I'm like, guys, listen. Y'all in here fighting with each other when all the women outside.
yes. Thank you.
And they be like, you're right. And they just go
Right. Yeah. Let me zip up my meat and go out here. Like, you got to fight another man. Man, come on, man.
I'm telling you, it's I've seen men punch women. I've seen men hit men over the head with bottles. I've seen women try to attack the DJ. I've seen everything.
God damn.
It was every weekend we knew we was in for a treat. There was always women who would get drunk and take out that they would stand on the table and then take down their tops and they let guys pour beer all over them. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I'm thinking to myself, I know I gotta stop that, but I don't think I want to stop it.
Like,
I don't think I want to.
I'm a slow walk over there. I'm gonna give her a chance to redeem herself.
Like,
Like,
all right, y'all get down. Come on, get down, please. 5 seconds later, back up there. Like, damn. So
all right, man, I want to get to your MMA and your boxing
okay.
world, and because I think that's a big part of what you do, and I got KM here too. You two are the only dudes I know that do martial arts and are purists about the sport and about it. So I'm gonna ask you. They say that boxing is dead.
It's what? Hey, what?
They say, but hear me out.
Okay,
These are the people that they can't get past like the mega names. Like they don't know how to look at the up and comers and how to see the sport for how pure it is, the science of it. So if they don't see somebody like come to the ring of dancing on ESPN, they don't know that this dude right here coming out of Philly is number 3 in the world and he got a real shot. So what do you say to people like that when they say boxing is dead as a sport? Nobody wants to see it anymore.
I'll explain. Boxing is the world's first, and I say this, lethal martial art. All right, it's a launching pad for everything else. You start with boxing, and then before you know it, you're kickboxing. Before you know it, you learn groundwork. Before you know what I mean. So kickboxing is always the starter. It always has been the starter. Um, I think big names don't mean anything. We live in a boxing city. You'd be amazed how many politics they play here. We live in a boxing city here in Philadelphia. I can't tell you how many places I've been underground or just at a casino watching fights or being involved in them. I think people have to understand that what you see on ESPN, it really isn't an accurate interpretation on what you see when you go to, say, a boxing ring or a boxing gym and you see people spar. You see fighters. I mean, just watching, sitting and watching, and guys are pretty. They got the face gear on and everything, and they're just banging with each other. I mean, they stand in one spot banging. They're not even boxing; they're brawling. You know what I mean? Okay, Ryan Garcia. I see that, Roddy Mark. Let me tell you something about Ryan Garcia. Here's the problem I have with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is too busy worried about his looks instead of being a fighter. And I understand that he has wanted to have more fights, and Oscar De La Hoya is holding him back. I understand it because he just said not too long ago, if Oscar De La Hoya will not give him a fight, he will leave. He said that. All right. But when you call out Gervonta Davis, you call out Tank, knowing that this man can pretty much knock people's heads off. When you're calling out Lomachenko, who is damn near a wizard at his sport, at his type of fighting, when you have a Tefimo Lopez out there who is very hungry, you have all these guys, Tevin Farmer, you got all these type of boxers that will really put you in your place. He can't say that. And the first thing he always goes to, and I say this because I've talked to a lot of boxing promoters and hearing their opinion of Ryan Garcia, they always say legends are made in the ring. They're not made on Instagram or Twitter because he has so much of a following on Instagram and Twitter. He thinks that he can do what he wants. That's not how it works. Ryan Garcia is hungry. He wants to fight, but I think he is, when certain people he calls out, I think he's over his head. I think he's over his head. I think he's going to get in trouble. You have to understand, Devin Haney already tuned him up twice in amateurs. And Devin Haney's out there doing pro. So if they fight again, guess what's going to happen the third time? Devin Haney's going to tune him up again.
Now, man, why you said that, man, like, everybody has their nemesis. But when you see these guys, why do you see a lot of guys, like you said, Garcia? Like, if Garcia is this guy, right, he's this dude, but you got somebody that tunes him up all the time, why don't they bring that guy up too?
Well,
to let those guys fight on a bigger stage.
Like Mark said, it's about marketability too. You got to think, when you see all these guys dancing and carrying on, coming out like that, they took all that from wrestling. They took all that stuff from wrestling, all right, to make it more popular. I think that the one bull that tuned up Garcia when he was in the ring with him, Rolly. Rolly's had a couple of big time fights, but he's not a boxer. He's a brawler. So if you stand toe to toe with him, he's gonna throw at you, and that's all he's gonna do is throw. But if you stick and move and you keep bouncing around and moving, he can't catch you. If you're like almost like the Sugar Ray Leonard type, he's not gonna catch you. You know what I mean? So certain boxers, even though they are pro, they still have a lot to learn, especially the young generation. But you gotta think, you got big time names out there like Canelo still doing it. Canelo keeps jumping weight class to weight class. He's gonna do whatever the hell he wants. You know what I mean? You still got Floyd taking exhibitions now for a lot of money. He beat that Japanese guy in what, 9 seconds, 35 seconds or something like that? He earned $9 million from it.
Why can't other people promote themselves like Floyd?
Well, Floyd's the one who started it all to begin with. I think a lot of people got tired of Don King's bullshit, and because he robbed Mike Tyson of money, he robbed
Mike
Ali of money. And I don't know if anyone saw that the video on YouTube where they asked, was it Don King, why did you rob those guys of their money? He said, because they stupid enough to let me rob them of it, so why not? They don't deserve it. And I was like, bro, did he just come out and say this? Like, yeah. So for me, it was hard to see. You know, like I said, Ryan Garcia has a lot of talent, but I don't question his talent. I question his chin, because anybody who sees the way Ryan Garcia fights, he sticks his head forward when he boxes, and I'll do it to the side. When he boxes, he sticks his head forward like this. That is a big no in boxing. You might as well put a sign on your forehead that says "hit me." You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So he's got to learn how to fight neutral ground. He hasn't done that yet. The fights they do give him, he blows away. They're tune-up matches.
Oh, I got a good question for you, man. Okay. Like, again, Floyd, he's such a he's a savant. He's a businessman. Do you see more cross promotions in the future?
I would like to see more. I think there are right now. They're talking Crawford versus Spence, but the promotions are holding them back. They want to fight.
Promotion.
Yeah, it's the promotions. It's not. A lot of people used to say that boxers are ducking each other and they don't want to fight. There's a lot more to it. Most of it is the promotion. Most of it is their manager saying, "Look, we're trying to keep," because let's be honest here. Any type of fighting that you do is not about the fight. It's about trying to have longevity and get paid so that you have a long career, and so that's what you do. UFC is a little bit different. Dana White gonna throw you in there with killers. He don't care. All right. But boxing, they try and hold off as much as possible to build you up so you can get that big payday. That's what they do. You know what I mean? Do I feel it's right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I mean, if you're gonna have a longevity and be, in this sport for a long time, you have to be able to say now's the time. For those who don't remember, for those who don't know, when Sugar Ray Leonard fought Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard admitted he wouldn't have fought Hagler before Hagler went on his little stint. When Hagler was down, that's when he said, "Let's have this fight. Let's have this fight."
Hagler was a bad boy.
Yeah, he's tough as nails.
He's bad boy. And then you add Coke on top of that.
Yeah, and it was the same thing with Duran though. When Duran won the title, he beat Leonard, and then he just ate and ate, and he was severely overweight. Leonard was like, 19 days, let's do it. You know what I mean? And he had to cut like at least 30 to 40 pounds in 19 days. Are you serious? So it was like, yeah, so it was hard. So yeah, I'm not surprised he quit. Like you can only go but so far. But those are the type of things that you do. Sometimes it's strategy, sometimes it's mind games. It's really interesting, to see behind the scenes what happens. Um, a lot of mixed martial arts the same way. I'm very wary of UFC and Bellator for their drug testing because we've seen testimonies from Chris Lieben and other fighters who have said, "Dude, I went and did lines of coke, then went out there and went to fight," or I was injured and I passed my injury. I pissed in the toilet. I was pissing blood because I went out there to go fight. You know what I mean? Like none, they need the money, payday. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, if you don't put on, and God knows if you knock somebody out, because in the UFC, if you have to knock out a night, you getting that money, you getting that extra money. So everyone's looking to take someone's head off.
Man, if you're a highly elite athlete, like what in the world would make you want to do fucking lines before you about to go for a fight?
Okay, here's the reason. John Jones got caught with it too. But when you do coke, you almost feel invincible. You're not invincible, but you feel invincible. So that's what it is. That's all it is. You just feel like you're on top of the world before you even get in the ring. Mike Tyson naturally had that. Mike Tyson will tell you every time he started walking to the ring, closer he got to the ring, he was thinking, "I'm a god. I can't be destroyed. I can take everyone down." That's his mentality was without the coke. You know what I mean? But then when he started falling on hard times, Mike Tyson fell in coke. You know what I mean? A lot of fighters I see that come and go, you know what I mean, out these gyms or where I'm at, a lot of them, they're doing coke, they're doing steroids, they're drinking a lot, they're doing whatever they got to do to get by.
Boxing is one of the sports where I think your discipline has to be
the discipline
beyond.
It depends on your coach. It really does. Because I was trying to teach kids when I was doing it. I was trying to teach kids not just how to box and defend yourself, but how to be a better human being. Where there was other coaches that I saw in the gym where it was like, "No, we're just going to turn you into a weapon. This is what you do." And then those kids would go on Instagram and bully kids while they were being filmed and bully other kids and use their skills that they learned in the ring to beat up the kids. They were being bullies. They weren't learning discipline. They were just learning how to fight. There's a difference. So it's one of those things where you got to be very careful what happens and how you approach, your fighters. I make sure that all my fighters, no matter what age they are very humble. I do not tolerate a lot of back talk and stuff like that. It's okay to joke and everything. I don't have a problem with that. As long as you're working hard, I don't have a problem with any of it. You know what I mean? But when it's showtime, it's showtime. That's it. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. When you look at it from a different perspective and you see how fighters are fighting, like ESPN puts on a lot of cards every Tuesday and Thursday now since the pandemic, and you see some of these fighters and you're like,
I watched a few.
Dog, he's not even keeping his hands up. Like, dog, what is he doing? Like, he's dropping his hand. He's lunging with his punch. I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? Now, granted, you can't always be great technically when you're in the middle of a fight, but you should know to keep your hands up or you may just get clocked. You may get caught, and that's game. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of it still. Like that woman, was it last week, the week before? She lost in what 7 and 9 seconds. She was a 1 day replacement because the other girl didn't show. She was like nah, and she was the replacement. She got it on that day. She had to fight the champion, and she got knocked out in like 7 seconds. And I was just like, nah, nah. And even afterwards, even the trainers and stuff was like, if we'd have known this in looking at hindsight, if we'd have known this, if we'd go back and do it again, we wouldn't put her in the ring because it messes up her career.
I gotta ask you this since I got KM here.
All right.
Steven Seagal, greatest martial arts of all time.
No. I respect Steven Seagal. No, I respect Steven Seagal. I do. I respect him, but he's not the greatest of all time. All right. I respect Steven Seagal. For those who don't know, he taught Anderson Silva how to do that front kick. He taught him that. So yeah, I respect Steven Seagal, but he's not the greatest of all time. Right?
I know. I'm just joking. No. I just love his movies. It's great cheese.
Movies are great. Movies are great.
I'm just a cook, like Mark said. Yeah, I'm just a cook.
Yeah. Instead of executive decision, other than when he fell off the airplane, I would when they first got on. No, we can't have that.
What's your favorite discipline?
My favorite discipline, I have to say jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, I love jiu-jitsu. I've posted videos of going against guys twice my size. I've gone, you know what I mean? I've gone I'm trying to see if there's going to be any tournaments this year because I want to win a belt. But I love jiu-jitsu. The fact that it rolls, it's like human chess. So when you're rolling and you know how to do this and you're ahead of the guys, like, okay, if I do this move, I know automatically he or she is going to do this next. So I'm already prepared for that. You know what I mean? Like it's just human chess. I can't tell you how many times most of the guys that I do jiu-jitsu with are at least 6'4", maybe 6'3", and they're always like 250 or whatever, but they're in shape 250. So I'm small. I'm only right now I'm only 207, something like that. I was 210, but 207. But when I did the videos before, I was like 195 pounds. So it's a little different. So it's like you're taking on giants all the time. So
now, do you need a wrestling background with jiu-jitsu?
No, I don't. It's best if you have one, but I don't have a wrestling background. I just say when I was in high school or I played basketball, I didn't I didn't have a wrestling background. But it's always been known if you have a wrestling background, you can get by easier in jiu-jitsu. When you go to tournaments, you see guys who don't know jiu-jitsu, but they know catch wrestling, so they can still go at it. You know what I mean? They can still survive. And I think sometimes they don't understand that people in tournaments, all right, we are competing, but other people got 9 to 5s. You can't be breaking legs and tearing ACLs and all that type of stuff. And you see these catch wrestlers, they do it all the time. And it's like, dude, no. So if those don't know, in the sport of jiu-jitsu, they ban leg locks now because of that. So that no one, because people got to get up and go to work. You can't do that, people, So, I mean, when you're rolling,
Yeah, because I always ask if you're always on the ground, because when we did, in the police academy, because a lot of officers, when they found out, they did studies, a lot of the fights end up on the ground. So they started investing into ground techniques, jiu-jitsu stuff. And they was teaching us in the academy how to slap out, how to fall, because officers will fall on their back, hit their head, and be out.
Yeah,
they just free money
this way. Yep.
So it's like reaching everywhere. It's like mixed martial arts is really like it's one of those things where you use it with everything that you do in life, and I think that's fascinating. And I think you don't have to be like Mean Joe Brown to learn the basics to survive.
I will tell you now, when I was starting and I was in a lot of those classes, a lot of those guys were just a bunch of skinny nerds. They were when I was there. They were the most people who were taking up the class and skateboarders. That's who they were. And for me, it was like I felt like I was the most athletic person there. You know what I mean? Because they didn't play sports. They would do skateboarding or they were just nerds and they didn't know how to defend themselves. That's why they're here. That's what they're there for. You don't knock them down for it. No, you cheer on your teammates. That's what you do. But when it comes to the police academy, I really feel, and I had said it before because Hayabusa had put a tweet out about it, and I was like, how many times I got to talk about this? I think that jiu-jitsu should be a staple in the police academy because during these protests, we have seen a number of cops not being able to use the rear naked choke the right way. I'm looking. I'm like, yo, he doesn't have his legs tied together. He's not going for a body lock. He's not. He's not. He's
He's
not.
tired.
Right?
He's
Yeah,
tired.
yeah. And I'm looking at him like, yo, if I knew what I was doing, I'd have got out of it and broke him up by now. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have got out of it, spun around, got side control, went from Americana. Like, I'd have did all kinds of stuff to this dude. Like, I think that it should be a staple for police to understand. Well, when I said that, there were some people who disagree with me because they said, well, if you give them more tools, they're just going to be more powerful. And I'm
You
like,
want them to stop using their guns for simple shit, though. How
yeah,
many officers? I've done it.
yeah,
Like, how many officers? Man, I'm not done like use my gun, but how
mm,
you see it where officers are not like I've had people come at me with knives. I haven't pulled my gun
I had a guy
because
pull a gun
I
on Saturday,
I trust in
you know?
my abilities. But you got these people who never been in a fight in their life, and they
Mm-hmm.
about to get on the ground with somebody, and they're like, "Yo,
Yeah,
I may not make it out of it." Pop, 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 pop,
yeah,
pop, pop, pop.
yeah, exactly.
And then all they got to say is, "I fear for my life."
Yeah,
And technically, they did,
yeah,
but you're like, "Come on, like he
yeah,
can't wrestle, or
yeah,
like he
yeah.
can't."
They didn't assess the situation as
Right.
best we could. And that's why I say I think jujitsu needs to be in every police academy and it needs to be taught. Um, ah,
We got
all
you,
right,
Mark.
take care, Mark.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, you know why I got you, man? I gotta ask you.
yeah.
I gotta ask you. The Sixers, fix them.
Okay. Y'all know I've been at this for years and years and years. I've told y'all how Brett Brown should be fired, and people was like, "No, you can't fire him." And I was like, "Okay, we are in year 3, and it was year 5. Now it's year 6." I'm like, and they haven't changed. All he does is make excuses for the team. He babies them. He doesn't ground them. You know what I mean? Grind on them. Brett Brown should not be the coach of the Sixers, as far as I'm concerned. I think the Sixers are a mess right now. I see Joel Embiid, well, not right now because of the pandemic, but I see him damn near every day across the street where he lives, with his little dog and his girlfriend, which he recently got his driver's license. Now he likes to drive. But I don't know how that big of a man can fit in that small of a car, but it is what it is. Um,
He's oh
the
man, he's a
Sixers,
big.
I don't like the way they're built. I don't like the way they're made up. I don't like the fact that they don't have any. They don't have a lot of bench depth. Um, I don't like the play calling. I don't like because everything. It's almost
Play
NBA.
calling? What
Yeah,
play calling? I think he's
exactly.
the play.
Yeah, they just
No
chuck up.
play.
They chuck up whatever they want, and then on defense, they don't guard the 3. They haven't guarded the 3 in like 6 years.
But that's supposed to be his bread and butter. Guard
Yeah,
the three.
they don't guard
But
the
you
3 at
got
all.
two guards that have career nights.
Uh-huh. It's crazy to see that you can have Simmons and Embiid, even though Simmons isn't shooting what he needs to, they still total up a lot of the points. And the media trying to tear these two apart is ridiculous. I understand that you may want to go younger or whatever, and people will say, "Well, Ben's not getting any better." And I understand that people want proof. They want proof to see that he can shoot. It's not even about shooting; it's about confidence, and he doesn't seem to have it. Embiid just does what he wants to do. You know what I mean? He does whenever he will perform when he wants to. Uh, to be honest, I've said this before in video. I will take an angry Embiid over a clownish Embiid any day of the week
Oh yeah.
because
Like I would take the guy that cussed out
Mhm.
Shake
Yeah,
every day.
yeah, because when he's angry, he gets shit done. He takes over, and I would like to see that more often. But I don't like the way this is made up. I mean, you got rid of was it JJ Redick? Because let's be honest here, JJ Redick was sucking a lot of money out of you. All right, he wanted what 22 million for 1 year. Yeah, who wouldn't do that? You know what I mean?
I
But if
would.
you notice on the offensive side, they had to run screens for him, and they couldn't run the screens for him. So what would he do? He would take a lot of off balance shots. He never had a set shot really. If you watch those games, so JJ Redick is like, I'm a shooter, but not really shooting the way I can in form. So it's like, all right, so JJ's out of here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that came along that could probably be worth something, and the Sixers was like, no, he let him go when he went back down to the D League. One or two.
Or they regressed when they got here. Al,
Yeah, yeah,
Jimmy,
yeah. I don't know
Tobias.
why Al Horford is shooting threes. I watched him the other night. I'm like, why are you shooting threes? Why are you shooting threes? He took
Because
more
that's
shots,
what Brett wants. He told him he wants him to be a floor stretcher.
and he's not a floor stretcher. He's
Get
not.
this man out of here. Please get him out of here. Like
If he was just
that.
staying inside, he'd do it. But
And
he
this is
not.
what I love about Philadelphia. We know our shit. Like,
Yeah,
you can't piss on us and tell us it's raining. We
yeah.
know what a shit product is. And we knew when he didn't beat Boston
Mm-hmm.
without Kyrie,
Mm-hmm.
it was a wrap.
Yep.
He was done. I told
I'll play
everybody, I said, Brett can't be the coach of this team.
I'll play this. I'll go even further and say that Philly fans will accept Al Horford's sister before Al Horford at this point. You know what I mean?
Actually, I wanted to go. I get tired of complaining about missing Boston. I don't give
Yeah,
a shit about
she
no
always
goddamn
complains. Yeah, I
Boston.
know. Always complains.
But yeah, who won this? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, the Sixers are just a mess right now. I mean, I just feel there shouldn't be any games being played anyway because of the pandemic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and I'm still, I don't know how they're gonna do football.
well, they said they were going to let fans come to the stands. Now they talk about not letting them. It was like as long as you wear a mask. Well, that ain't gonna help any. You know,
You
people
still
will
got
get
to
it.
get checked in. You still got to
Mhm.
have human contact. You got
Yep.
to feed them.
Yeah, you gotta feed them. They're gonna have drinks. They ain't gonna have that thing on their face. They eating and drinking. So it's like, how you gonna do this? The Phillies, they didn't mess. The MLB has messed this up so bad that it comes down to, hey, we were going to try to salvage it. And I'm like, no, shut it down. Shut it down. They didn't been calling for Phillies Yankees for God knows how long. Now Phillies Yankees canceled this week because of the rain coming. Like, like it's
All
it's
right,
a
man. Who and what order? And put them in order. Who wins the championship? The four Philly teams.
well, we know the Phillies won in '08. We know that the Sixers, the Eagles won not too long ago, a couple years ago. I'm going to say, Philadelphia Union always chokes. I'm going to say I'm going to say the Flyers. I'm going to say the Flyers. I think to be honest, I think this is their year. I think this is their year. I think if they can stay on the path they were going, I think this is their year. In the bubble or not, doesn't matter. I think they can
Talk
do it.
about the damn Flyers. You see what a real coach does to a team?
Yeah, yeah. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. And
And
it's
he
funny.
favorites when he came in.
Yeah, it's funny because even the previous two or three coaches actually from no, not the last coach. No, he was a bum. What is it? Peruvian. Was it what's his name? When he was here in 2010. God dang, he was with he was Predators now, I believe. I think he moved. Laviolette, Coach Laviolette.
Mhm.
Um, them two went on to have successful, teams afterwards after they had the Flyers. So it's either a philosophy issue or it's a player issue, and
Mhm.
I'm not sure which one it is. But the last coach we had, he had no idea what he was doing. Like they was getting smoked, and he would just be looking like it's cool. Like no, it's not cool. It's not.
Another fan
So
favorite. Another
yeah,
fan favorite. We can't let go of these fan favorites for some reason.
I don't
As
know.
we speak right now, Howell Neto and Korkmaz is in the lineup together.
Okay, I don't get
Listen,
it. I don't.
I don't understand his fascination with European average players. I
No, it's the same way where they hyped up. What was it Smith? Was it?
yeah,
No, Scott. Mike Scott. They
Mike
hyped
Scott.
him up, and it was like, yeah, we the Scott, Mike Scott, and they gave him a new contract over it. And I'm like,
Mike Scott
what?
Hodge.
Mike Scott play? What? You see how he playing?
He hasn't made a
Oh,
three since he signed that contract. Yo, he's oh my god. But this
it's
town, we love hard, but we also hate hard. But
yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, man.
I was
I
just
was
saying that it seems that the fan base. I think it's this generation's fan base because the Sixers are now popular. Um, if you look in the stands, there's a lot of hipsters in the stands. It's not like it was a lot of black folks
the
back in the
little
day.
jersey with their hoodie
Yeah.
underneath.
Uh-huh. Yep.
What brother you know wears a hoodie underneath his jersey?
Still, I mean, even so, it was like, oh, we're at courtside. Well, I'm like, yo, I don't think black folks have money to be courtside like that unless you're a rapper. We don't have money for courtside. It's like, all right, bro. Like, yeah, if you just look in the stands, it's like a sea of hipsters. I'm like, that's not good.
That's who they're marketing it towards. Like it's
Mhm.
like the little cool little hashtags. So like,
Yep,
no, we was here during the lean years. Clarence
yep,
Weatherspoon, we was here.
yeah, we was here. Yep,
Dana Barrows, we was
yep.
here. Sean Bradley, we was here.
Oh God, Trump.
We
Yeah, I remember that. God,
oh my god.
yeah, that was yeah. He gonna be the next big thing, really.
Clarence Weatherspoon who shot sideways.
Yeah, I just, yeah. It's this generation is like I would rather watch guys play on the blacktop and sit and watch than watch the Sixers play at this point. Like it's really bad. And
And they're paid to play it.
yeah, they're paid to play. They're paid to play. And
It-
I don't know.
uh, uh,
So like I said, it's just one of those things where it's like sports hasn't it doesn't feel the same. Like listen, when I watched Rockets was it Milwaukee last night, they had a screen of like people were actually watching at home, but they weren't. It was pre-recorded.
Virtual, yeah.
Yeah, the virtual set was pre-recorded. I was like, what the hell is this?
Have you
Oh,
ever seen a virtual Kerry Kittles? Oh my God, he looked like
you
an
see the
alien.
puppeteer? I was like, bro, I was done. I was done.
I'll be like, oh shit, huh? Oh, that's you, Paul.
It was just bad. I'm like, I understand what they're trying to do, but I was like, you could at least have a live feed for that or something.
like virtual
It,
fans and thing. It looked like a 2K crowd. Just
yeah,
ask 2K how
yep.
they pipe the crowd
It was
in.
funny.
Like, hey yo, how you do
I'm
that?
glad you brought that up because when you look at them at first, they look real, but once you start going on an angle, it gets complete polygon gone. It's just
Yeah,
square. I'm like,
and you can see. Wait a minute, every fifth person is alike. Like,
it was just hard, and it was funny because last night nobody like every time the bull from the was it from the Rockets scored, he was turning and talking shit to the bench. I'm like, yo, who's he talking to? He 2 for 8 right now.
he's
Who he
talking to
talking?
virtual.
He's talking to the bench. The bench player's just sitting there like this. Mind ain't business. This he wasn't no reaction, nothing, just sitting like this. So I'm like, who is he talking to? But he was every time he scored, I'm like, you can't score, you can't be 2 for 8 from the field and
Oh man.
you can't do it. Like, come on. So yeah, for me it was a sight to see last night. I was just like, this is embarrassing, but okay, I gotta go to Netflix. I gotta go to Netflix now. I can't do this. Like it was really
You and
bad.
me both.
So
But
yeah.
man, oh man, I listen, man. Like I told you, man, I appreciate you coming on, man, and just
Oh,
kicking shit with me, man. I really enjoyed this. I always give myself and my guests like 30 seconds, like you can plug, you can rant, you can do you know how to
okay.
rant, you could do whatever you want, plug your stuff, man. Make sure everybody know where to find you, how to find you. I'm not talking like on the corner where you can like box
Yeah.
them, like where
Yeah.
they like
Yeah.
you son, man, I used
That's
to
all
love
I know. Yeah.
oh
Well, let
man,
me
your
for you.
videos, man. God almighty, man.
Hey,
Oh man, I just be
good
thinking
work.
about him, man. I used to be like, man, like how does he keep that same intensity the whole video? Like I'll be tired. I get tired
Yo,
in 30 seconds arguing with somebody. Like you be like, fuck, whoa, fuck.
yeah,
And
telling
then
you.
you told me, you
Yeah,
stupid. I was
yeah.
like,
I be going off. I'm telling you, that's because, like I said, it's one of those things where I wait till everything build up, and I'm like, uh huh. Now it's time.
oh,
Just
so
go off.
you will hold it in, and then you like, okay, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Bingo, here we go. Now it's
That's
time to
how it is.
explode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
will
I know what
say,
I wanted to ask you. I forgot
okay.
what I wanted to ask you. What because you went into like what happened like because you was one of the first like everybody talk about Phil from Mount Airy how he used to call in then he got his own show whatever fuck that I don't care but
Mhm.
when you was picked because of your content and you actually went you
Mhm.
was told you was next and then you know tell me your side, like how it all fell through. And on top of that, like I wanted to ask you one of my questions was, would you ever consider doing mainstream radio again,
All right.
considering what happened in the past?
Well, when they picked me, I felt kind of fortunate. It I started by surprise because for those who saw how to fix the Phillies in 60 seconds, it was told to me. That's the video that put me on. That's the video. So they contacted me about it and was like, "We would like you to do more." They was like, "We don't like the cursing and all, but you can do more." However, my fan base was like, "You need to curse more." So
Yeah,
I'm stuck
yes.
between, I'm stuck between a rock
Maine
and a hard
gotta be
place.
Maine. Like we
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
So I remember one day that Marshall Harris, he used to live in the same building as I did, in over here on Ninth and Chestnut, and he told me, he said, "You're one of the guys that can actually say what we really want to say." And I was like, okay, well, it seems they have to play it off because they got no choice. You know what I mean? So they really feel just the way I do. They just got no choice. When they brought me into the studio, I met everybody. I met Mike Missinelli, met all the staff. Sean Britt, met them all. You know, and it was cool. They let me sit down with Darren Dalton and and shoot the shit with him before he passed. Darren Dalton had his own studio manager that's behind the scenes.
Good
Um,
dude.
so yeah, so I mean, once I started figuring out what was going on, because nothing really fell hard until they did that video of the winner of. Oh, I don't think you can hear me. He's got muted. I don't know. Oh, you can hear me? Okay, I was sure. All right, because I can't hear you. So yeah, all right. So what happened was the winner of the Philadelphia, the Phillies in 60 seconds. Mind you, I was just supposed to promote it. I wasn't be part of it at all. I was just to promote it. The person who won was taking, as we know on YouTube, as copyright infringement. He took a lot of things that were copyrighted and he put it into his video to make it 60 seconds long. 97. Well, there's a studio said to me that this is a go. And I went and talked to Matt Nahagan and was like, Matt, you can't do this. Your video, that video is going to get shut down if anyone reports it. I was like, I'm just letting you know that so you can avoid a lawsuit. Because once you take someone's content, if you decide to fight it, you can be in a lawsuit for it. So Matt was like, it wasn't my idea, it was Sean's idea. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, okay, so it's Sean Brace's idea. Mind you, Sean's the one that contacted. But I'm like, okay. So if it's your idea, then why aren't you following the rules of YouTube? And then he was just like, oh well, there's ways we go about this, and I'm like, no, there's no ways. I just finished talking to Matt. And he told me that you're the one who let it ride. He was like, well, Matt's a liar, and then Matt was like, Sean's a liar, and I'm like, how about both of y'all motherfuckers are lying to me? Someone's got to take responsibility for this.
Nobody
So
will take that
he
ass.
didn't want to. So it was me trying to see the lesser two evils, and I took Matt's side because Matt had always been straight up with me and not Sean.
Sean's
Then,
a weasel.
yeah, the day after that, or was it a week or so, Sean started making his own YouTube videos and was trying to do them like me. I'm like, okay, now I see what's going on. Okay. So you want to get rid of Event, but you still want to keep that presence of Event. You can't do it like me, period. You know what I mean? And that's what he always had a problem with because every time we talk, I'll just destroy him. Verbally, I destroy him. Physically, I could destroy him. But it's like that's what he was trying to do. He wanted to be what I had without giving me any without pressing it for it. So it's like, all right, cool. All right. So I felt I made the right decision by starting with Matt. When I saw that, like I said, again, Tony Bruno on them, they started talking about black people and all this racism stuff coming out. I was like, dude, look, if y'all don't get these guys out of here, I'm gonna hurt one of these dudes. You know what I mean? I'm gonna hurt them because they're so. It's one thing for shock jock tactics. It's another when you were literally talking about a race that you don't know and you bound to you finna get hurt. You know what I mean? And I didn't like that at all. And I talked to Matt, and Matt was like, "Don't worry about it. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you." I was like, "You had me in the studio. I was sitting with Darren Dahl. Everything was cool. Now all of a sudden, you got a renegade guy and Sean doing what he wants to do without your permission, which makes no sense because you run the studio.
Program director.
Yeah, exactly. You run the studio, so that makes you look bad because he's going behind your back. And Matt had told me the entire time, like when he put me on, he was like, "Yo, we trying to get rid of these dudes. We trying to get rid of Missinelli. We trying to get rid of Brace. Brace. We trying to get rid of Old Guard. So you the one. You're going to be the chosen one." And he kept, giving me. And then before you know it, I was sitting at home. I'm like, "Yo, when you going? Yo, Matt, call me back. What's up? So I know what to do. I'm not going to stand around and wait for you. I hate sitting around like that. Then I do my video. And then I get something from Fox News. Oh, can we put your video, on was it on for the 60 seconds for the Phillies? Can we put that on on our station? You got to sign this waiver or whatever. So I do it through email or whatever. That's when I realized that Sean was lying because when me and Sean got into it on Twitter, he was like, "I never did anything with you to promote you." I'm like, "Yo, the video for it is up on YouTube. What are you talking about? This you right here."
Guy's a clown, man.
That's how I knew he was the one of the problem. So I figured Matt was trying to replace Sean with me, and I think that didn't sit well with Sean. So I was like, all right. So Matt was just like, hang back. It's cool. Let cooler heads prevail. We don't want your fan base going on against us because you'll beat us. That's literally what he said to me. He was like, your fan base will beat us. We're not known for
Agreed.
the internet. We're not known for the internet. You are, you
Mhm.
know. So I was like, all right. So I hung back, and Sean just kept running his fucking mouth. And I'm like, all right, Sean. All right, keep that. I'm trying to keep a lid on it because what's going on. And then out of nowhere, like Matt stopped. He stopped talking to me, and I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like you told me, just stop the cursing and you cool. And I did that for like 3-4 weeks just to prove I can do it. And he just got quiet. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Then I found out Matt was skipping town. He was out of here. Like if y'all don't know, Matt Nahagan is in San Francisco right now.
Yeah.
He left altogether. And Sean was on his way out too. They was getting rid of him. They was getting rid of Matt. They was getting rid of all those people. The only people that survived was Mike Missinelli. Like Tony Bruno left. Like everyone was gone. They had nobody. Mike became the guy, and he wasn't the guy when I was there. He had his own piece in the show, but he was no Darren Dalton. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? He was Tony Bruno even, leverage wise had more than him.
Mhm.
So for me, it was like, all right, something's going wrong. And then that's when I really like over time, I was just sitting and waiting. I'm like, Matt, get back to me. And then on Twitter, I would tweet Matt, what the fuck you talking about? And then when they found out about the whole race issue, when they made up the guy that was black that was calling into the show,
Yeah.
that was endgame for me. I was like, oh hell no. Oh hell no. I was like, this happened on your watch. You know what I mean? And then Sean Brace couldn't say anything. Couldn't nobody say anything. It was on their watch. They went to apologize to Black Lives Matter at the time. And I'm like, why the fuck you apologizing to them? None of y'all are in the neighborhood. None of y'all come down to the hood. None of y'all come down to the inner city. Except John Marks one time. I ran him at Rittenhouse, and I scared the shit out of him. I had my sister's head down low, and
Well,
he came
John's
on one of
like
the buildings.
he's
Yo,
5'1".
John Marks gotta be at least 5'2", 5'3", maybe. He's a very small guy. Okay. So when he was coming out the store, we almost kind of like ran into each other, and I just gave him that look, like get the fuck out my way, and he was like, oh god, and he scampered off, and I was like, all right, cool, you know what I mean? As long we're send that message back to Brace, do that. It was on Brace at the time. So needless to say, once they apologized to the Black Lives Matter, they felt that they were exonerated by all this racist stuff. And I was like, no, you look like a jackass. That's what you look like. You didn't come down here. You didn't come down and talk to the community. You don't come down here and support the local sports that we do. That's when I went to Germantown that day and did the video with Kenny Smith when I interviewed him because the renovation of the basketball courts. And I said to Kenny, I was like, because ABC was there. There's a couple news stations that was there, but their station was not one of them because they didn't feel that Germantown was good enough for them. So
that whole Weedsboro thing, Maine, Mike, to me, he's military. We call him foxhole guy. He's not a foxhole guy. Okay. Because he tried to put it all on Egan and Mertitas. It's your show. You're the captain of that shit. Yeah, even if you didn't know, you take responsibility for that. He let Mertitas and Egan hang. He let callers come in and talk about them and didn't say nothing. From that moment on, I said, you's a pussy, you's a pandering ass bitch, and I don't want to hear nothing about black people, the brothers, or nothing. So when people call you up and talk about they from the barbershop and shit like that, fuck them too, because you trash. You a pandering ass pussy. I can't stand Mike Missinelli. He's exactly what's wrong with society when people think they say a few couple culture words and the sheep get behind them like, oh, he down. He an invite to the barbecue. Stop inviting people to the barbecue.
Nah, he ain't invite to the cookout. Nah. Yeah. Listen,
he wouldn't come any damn way.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like when things went bad, nobody took responsibility for it. And I was like, you know what? Fuck y'all. I'm out of here because, you know what I mean? As me being a black person, I can't stand by this. We're going to be arguing on the air all day if that's the case. You know what I mean? I can't do that. So
we're going to have to fight during the break. We're going to have to fight during the break. Like,
that's what we're going to fight during the break. Yeah. It was just weird the way it went down, but it was like, that's when I did the video, when I released the emails, I released all the stuff. I was like, I ain't got time for this. This is what y'all really about. because we're gonna pay girls to come in and show their body off. I'm like, yo, what does that have to do with sports, B? Nothing. Ain't got nothing to do with sports.
Bunch of horny old men who was horny in high school trying to now get their rocks off.
And they gonna get over on the girls. Nah, it's stupid. Same thing with the wing bowl. It was the same thing. You know, we're gonna have a bunch of girls there, and I'm like, don't nobody care about them. You know what I mean? Like that's what it came down to. It was for me. It was like, all right, I gotta roll out of this, because if not, you know what I mean. But I'm gonna still get my shots in. Yeah. You know, and Sean Brace already know. I told him, because he was like, oh, you know, I'm not gonna fight you or whatever. I was like, all right, when I see you. That's simple. When I say that, that means my word is bond. When I see you, you don't even have to see me. When I see you, that's it.
That place was such a clown. When I think about the people that ran through there, braids. Then who was the guy that used to give the bad picks, the locks? Eunice?
Yeah.
What was?
Oh yeah, over the weekend. Yeah, it's for me. It was they, like I said, they embody what's bad about sports radio, and what's sad for me is that it could have been better. What Matt's vision of it would have been better, but he had too much against him. Sean was too much of a rebel and only thinking about himself and not of the overall picture.
But he's not good. He's not good enough to be a rebel.
He ain't good at all. I know that for a fact. That's what was crazy about it. So I'm like, yo, why y'all giving this man clout like this? It don't make no sense. Like I'll talk him every day of the week. But that's how it was. And for some reason, it just fell apart. And you say your question is, would I ever go back to professional, you know, radio or whatever? I wouldn't count it out, but I gotta have the right team around me. Because I can't do it without that. I mean, even Mike Missinelli's team. You see these three, and it's like the Three Stooges. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me that this is your team that you're going to ride with.
No. And I already told, if you ain't know already, I already told Tyrone, I said I'll be at FanFest 2021.
He blocked me because of you. Because of you. I didn't even say anything to that man. He blocked me because of you, because I retweeted it.
Listen, because, dude, you if you a black man, you know, you don't talk about nobody's mama. What are we doing here? What are we?
Don't do that. Yeah.
So I was like, I'll be there, and they like, Blue, you know, they're not gonna let you come there in 2021. I was like, well, I'm gonna at least show up, so they won't say, well, we invited him and he didn't come. No, I'm there. And you know what? I hate to tell people that, but you'll be amazed how many people at that station want me there. They want me at FanFest. They like when I go at Natalie or Mike or because I say the shit that they want to say.
That's how it was.
Oh yeah, Tyrone. Yeah, I'm gonna twist his sideburns if I get the chance. But
I'm still trying to figure out what I don't know what that dude was on. Something wrong with that dude. But
he talks so reckless to know nothing.
It's to me, it's like we're gonna have to have that black delegation talk again. We may have to trade Tyrone. You know what I mean, for something.
But who we want in return?
To be honest, we can trade him for Natalie. From what I get, we can teach her.
I know I get on her and stuff. She oh my god, I hate getting on her, but it's just because I see it. I'm like, you have
potential.
You can do. Sky's the limit, but you just want to giggle and be safe.
Yeah,
you can't giggle and be safe.
Not
now. All they think is they only think you're there because they did the double stream, and now they can see you. You sound good.
Yep.
And you got thirsty motherfuckers calling about you. That's the only reason why you're there.
I feel like this: if Natalie had a boyfriend and someone found out, her fan base would disappear.
Oh yeah, you should see him on Twitter when one of they, on Instagram, when one of their favorite followers get a boyfriend or post something.
Yep.
That'd be so heartbroken, and don't let it be a brother.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I tell you, they'll lose their money quick. That's the thing. I know the layout. So like when Mike was talking about when he was talking reckless to the other dude, yeah, well, you know where I'm at. You know where the parking lot is. I'm thinking to myself, dude, I know where you're at right now, and you ain't gonna do shit. You're not gonna do shit. You won't call security. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna call the cops. That's what you're gonna do. You're not throwing with anybody. Not with those golf pleated pants on. You're not doing anything, bro.
And they be high too with a belt and a shirt tucked in. Come on, Mike.
That's the thing I noticed about Mike. I'm like, yo, is he going to golf or something? because y'all got a golfer talking about all types of sports who don't know shit. Like, that's what
he swear up and down he know everything. He know.
Yeah,
oh man,
you can't tell him everything. That's how he feels. And if anyone opposes what he says, then he doubles down, and that's not the right way to go about things.
No.
I tried to tell the team when I was there, you have to be able to understand it's a team effort, it's a collaborative effort. Everybody has to mesh well, and they have to work together. You can't be having these spats online and throwing stuff and then walking out and carrying on it. Mike was
homosexuals, calling people everything. He talked about Michelle Beadle's weight. I'm like, what are we
doing? Yeah, and she was like, I don't even know who you are. She said it too. She's like, I don't know who you are. Yeah, it's
over me.
Yeah. So he like said, and like you said, that's the point where you said what you said before about playing it cool and being safe as opposed to taking risks. Mike take risks. He'll take the biggest risk, even if it costs him almost his job. He'll take the risk. Natalie will just sit there and say nothing and giggle. That's the problem. She needs to take the risk.
I'm surprised they actually showed some gumption when he was trying to play devil's advocate about the Central Park incident. Like,
yeah,
why do you think he was really mad? Why did he get mad?
Well, we know why he was mad. We know, you know what I mean. But he don't like to hear that. That's the thing. But it came crashing down on him, and here's the thing. It became 2-on-1, and because it came 2-on-1, he threw a fit. He knows that. Yep. That's right. He feels his word is final, but when you are outnumbered and outgunned, he throws a fit. And he's shown that before.
And I don't know how they let him back after that.
I was pretty upset that they let him back after that. Because at first I thought to myself, all right, they're gonna give him a couple weeks off. And to be honest,
he wouldn't even admit it that he was told to stay home.
Yeah, that's the thing. He did. Yeah, that's the best thing he could have done. If I was doing it and I got caught saying something like that, best thing I could have done is come back the next day, apologize, and play it and play into it, run it into the sports. That's the best thing he could have did. But he did. He stayed back, and then everyone waited for his return, and then he didn't apologize for it. I'm like, dude, you're just doing this shit all wrong.
He tried to blame it on Italian.
I know plenty of fucking Italians, and even they would have whooped his ass for that. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that. So no.
Like, I'm just trying to figure out, and especially with Tyrone there, he said, I read lips very well. He said, hey, fuck you, Tyrone, okay? Fuck you. When you say that to me,
that's an ass whooping. Don't matter what you're doing. You don't say that. You don't say that.
I can't be a professional now.
And that's why I say you have to have the right team around you, so you don't have that type of problem. It's always good to have a difference of opinion or take different sides, and I understand that that's what a lot of them do. First take, undisputed. They played the format as I will take this side, not that I really believe in it, but because I have to have a disagreement with you, I have to believe in it. Skip Bayless is very good at that. You know what I mean? So, but even though he's so outlandish in what he says, just like, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, it's script. It's kind of scripted, semi-scripted. Okay, you're gonna play pro, so I have to play con. I have no choice but to play con, or we don't have it, or we don't have a dialogue. You know what I mean? That's how it works. So when it comes to Mike just thinks of himself. It's always him. Is it? Oh well, my Italian roots. So what? What about your Italian roots?
Who cares?
So, I mean, he may look that way, but it doesn't mean that you're too old to not change. But that's how he pretty much presented it to himself. And a lot of people were just like, whatever. But you still, like I said, no matter what you do in life, you're still gonna have somebody to support you. He still has followers on Twitter. Still, you know what I mean? So it's like we're under the bridge now. No one cares.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, they don't care.
Since I'm about to get off with you, how about the Spurs came back and they're up 6 with a minute left?
They came back and they were up. Oh, okay. I just basketball is just not the same, man.
He has to go. He has why do we? I don't understand why we just lock his door. Be like, Brett, you don't have a room in the bubble no more. Just go to Europe.
Lock him. Throw stuff outside.
Play 250 to 250 basketball games. You're losing to the Spurs.
The Spurs
ain't coaching Greg Popovich.
Yeah.
But
mind you, he learned under Greg Popovich. So
he didn't learn what? What did he learn, man?
I don't know, but that's what they always throw out there. He's a student of Greg Popovich used to work with him, and he ain't getting W's.
Man, we lost
all places.
And now we lose it to the Spurs without Tim Duncan and Manu and Tony. You know what, man?
Yeah.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for giving me all this time. Thank you for dressing up. I feel like I didn't dress right.
No. Look, this is part of my Start collection. It's one of those things where every time I go on, I'm always
we gotta have that. We gotta have that story again because I'm a Batman guy. You're a Tony Stark guy, so we gotta talk about this.
I'm a Batman guy too, but
we gotta talk about this. But we gonna hold that for next show. But man, I appreciate you, man.
No problem, man.
You be safe and trust me, dog. When I'm in Philly, definitely I'm looking you up, man. I appreciate you, man. You be safe. I'll be seeing you on Twitter.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, man. Oh yeah, man. Tell everybody about your stuff. Where to find you and all that stuff.
That don't really matter these days. You can find me at Main Event TV _ AKA on Twitter. Same thing with was it on YouTube? It's just event status. You see it today, event _ status. It depends. People call me so many different names. I was called Black Lex Luthor last week, so I don't really know what I am at this point. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they was that last video I put out was a home run. So yeah, people were happy.
San Antonio scored 40 points in the fourth quarter to the Sixers 24. Man, I'm out. I can't do it no more. All right, man. Be safe.
You too. All right, girl. Wear a mask. Stop playing around. Wear a mask when you go outside. Come on now. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Chill.